Infinite projection room begins with the projection of Ultron's world destruction. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276, Awakening of Justice. After dealing with the warships of the non-Gmall people, the Sea Wolf discovered an underwater city. This is the city of the non-Gmall people. Captain Kiriyama looked at the underwater city of non-Gmall, took a deep breath, and the hesitation on his face turned into determination. It is indeed the base of the aliens. Captain Kiriyama said, "What underwater people who are older than us humans? Nonsense. The Earth belongs to us humans. Attack." All missiles are launched. The missiles on the Sea Wolf flew towards the city of non-Gmall. Perhaps because of the long-term stability, the city of non-Gmall did not have any defense system, and the city was also very small, with only about 10,000 people. The missiles fell, and the destructive power of human technological weapons bloomed on this pure land that was not in dispute with the world. The non-Gmall people who had lived in peace for thousands of years had no idea that a disaster was coming. The blazing flames were like the sickle of the god of death, ruthlessly harvesting all the lives around. Because of the air pressure on the seabed, the water temperature here can even reach hundreds or thousands of degrees. 80 degrees is the limit of the creatures in the center of the earth. Non-Gmall was destroyed. This city, this race. Total destruction. They were driven into the ocean by humans, and never thought of revenge. Just wanted to survive. Just wanted a living space. They just resisted a little, and then they were destroyed. And the executioners, the invaders, were smugly announcing their victory. Non-Gmall's underwater base has been completely cleared. This is our victory. The seabed is ours after all, and now it's open and there is nothing to hinder us from developing things on the seabed. The team members on the Sea Wolf looked solemn. They knew what they had done. They committed genocide. Their hands were stained with the blood of the non-Gmall people. They carried the sins that could not be washed away even by the water of the Shianshan mountains. And those who knew the truth among them either kept silent or rushed to proclaim their victory, their greatness, their justice to those who didn't know. This day is recommended to be named Ocean Thanksgiving. Grateful for the resources brought by the ocean. Grateful for the Ultra God who defeated the invaders and took back the ocean that belonged to them, the Earthlings, and grateful for this just act. On the sea, Seven's left hand holding the ice axe trembled slightly. After killing Gallus like chopping melons and vegetables, Seven did not fire away directly, but stood there quietly, as if mourning for Gallus and non-Gmall. The time of gigantism is over. Seven turned into the appearance of Yuxingtuan and returned to the seaside, back to the reef where he transformed. Shinichi is no longer there. After a long time, the Ultra Guard took a collective vacation, and the team members came to the seaside again. Several male team members were throwing stones into the sea, competing to see who could throw farther. The members of the Ultra Guard have once again defeated the evil invaders and successfully recaptured the ocean and beaches that belong to the Earthlings. In this peaceful environment, they are enjoying a leisurely day, and Tuan was lying on the beach, unable to calm down for a long time. Just then, Shinichi's voice suddenly rang out. "The Ultra Guard are all bastards." Tuan and Anu instinctively ran in the direction of the voice when they heard the voice, but when they arrived, they saw a woman offering sacrifices in front of a stone tablet. "Excuse me, who are you? I lost my child here." The woman held a bunch of flowers and looked at the stone tablet sadly. It was written on it, "Tomb of Shinichi, the envoy of Seven Non-Malt, the Kingdom of Light." And the screening room was terribly quiet, and everyone lowered their heads and remained silent. Should I modify the playback plan? This subtitle suddenly appeared in the screening room. If you continue to play it, you may really become autistic. Everyone was stunned, but soon reacted. From what the screening room said, it seemed that there would be something bigger later. Captain America, no. Please continue playing. Captain America, although they are humans from other universes, they are also humans. We humans should not avoid problems and avoid the darkness in our hearts. Only by recognizing problems can we better solve them. Peter Parker, that's right. Peter Parker, only by recognizing our own problems can we better solve them. Peter Parker, the sins of humans in that world may be staged in our world, but I will do my best to stop it, even if it means sacrificing my life. Peter Parker, I have been wondering what kind of justice is. Is justice that the absolute majority of people think is really justice? Peter Parker, no. It may also be a group of perpetrators oppressing the bullied and beautifying their own behavior. Peter Parker, I will find my own justice and offend it with my life. Thanos, it seems that there is another person I recognize in this screening room. Peter Parker, so I will definitely stop you. Thanos, very good. I'm waiting for you. Diana Prince, having great power, but not a strong mind is just a strong beast. A strong mind is the root of power. Diana Prince, Peter, you can realize this. You are already a real warrior. Tony Stark, I'm really going backwards as I grow older. I don't even understand as much as a little kid. Logan, yes, I've lived for hundreds of years without even figuring out why I live. It's shameful. Magneto, then my justice is also very simple and clear. That is to establish an empire belonging to mutants. Magneto, I can see it clearly. In the eyes of humans, there is no difference between us mutants and non-mortals. As long as they want, they will definitely start a war against us without hesitation, and then stand on our corpses to declare their justice. Magneto, Charles, I know you can see Charles. Magneto, did you see it? The end of the non-mortals. If you follow your idea, then we mutants will be the next non-mortals. Magneto, don't believe that humans will accept aliens. All we can do is fight. Use all means to fight. Magneto, don't trust humans Charles anymore. We must be responsible for our own people. Chapter 277, The Monster Messenger and the Boy, starts. The atmosphere in the screening room was completely ignited. What exactly is one's justice? This question made everyone excited again. Some people may have lived their whole lives without understanding what they want to do and what their life's goals are. In the Marvel universe, the real cosmic gods all have their own heart anchors. Without a heart anchor, the mind will be eroded by time over the long years and finally become a wild beast, turning into a beast that acts entirely on instinct. The gap between them is so big that there is no need to say more. Who can truly achieve enlightenment in Longchang and the unity of knowledge and action? Now, Peter has done it. He has figured out what he wants to do. Since you are resurrected with full blood, I will continue. The Kingdom of Light Ultraman Jack Monster Messenger and Boy on air. Just like Ultraman, Seven can't stay on Earth forever. After helping the Earthlings defeat the monster Ponton, Seven dragged his scarred body and parted with Anu and returned to the Kingdom of Light. And after Seven, another Ultraman warrior came to Earth. He is the weapon master of the Kingdom of Light, the holder of the super bracelet, and the fourth Ultra brother, Jack Ultraman. Compared to Ultraman in 7, Jack and his human body, Hidekigo, have more independent personalities. So much so that there will be a famous scene where Hidekigo jumps off a building to force Jack to transform. But today, the protagonists are not Jack and Hidekigo, but a boy and a Met Starman. The dark sky, the sudden rain, and the shrill sound of the wind are creepy. And what is even more terrifying is a monster with scalloped eyes and a hideous appearance. The monster's roar is far more frightening than the shrill sound of the wind, and a boy is being chased by the monster. The boy ran wildly in the rainy night, and behind him was the giant beast Miruki who could crush him into meat paste with just one kick. Compared with the monster Miruki's huge body of 55 meters high, the boy is pitifully small. The boy shouted for help, but his voice seemed too small compared to the sound of rain or Miruch's roar, just like his voice compared to Miruch himself. Finally, the boy's physical strength was exhausted, and he really couldn't run anymore. Just when the boy was about to be killed by the monster, a monster appeared. The monster's skin color was blue, and he looked like a frog. He was wearing a deep black robe. It was obvious that he was not a native creature of the earth. Well, it's hard to say. The residual soul of Non-Gmalt is still howling over the Pacific Ocean, accusing the executioners of evil deeds. The monster appeared in front of the boy. At this time, the Met Star? I think so. Bruce Wayne looked at the Met Star with a creepy head, and he didn't dare to assert that the Met Star was a bad guy who came to capture the Earthlings. Because the impression that Non-Gmalt left on him was too deep. Is he here to save people? Peter asked tentatively. Peter now urgently needs a little warmth from humanity to comfort his tough, but still broken heart. Congratulations, Peter, but there is no reward. Great. MD, it's finally not a dark plot. Everyone just breathed a sigh of relief and suddenly remembered what was said in the screening room before. How sweet the candy is now, how painful the knife will be later. The video continues. The Met star helped the boy up. The originally hideous head was so kind in the boy's eyes at this moment, and the rough hands had the power to bring warmth to the boy. The Met star came in front of Mirage, raised his hands, and a golden Wi-Fi signal shot out. Mirage was sealed into the ground by the Met star. I don't know how long it took. Everything around here returned to peace. The industrialized city continued to release harmful gases that polluted the atmosphere, and the sky was extremely grey, just like the boy's heart at this moment. The boy was surrounded by 3 troublemakers again. As we all know, there are many cheap bastards among humans. As long as you don't fit in, they will come to you for trouble. Maybe because they don't like you, maybe because of this or that reason, or simply for no reason. They just want to find someone to bully. When they do evil, get fun, turn around and leave, and forget about it the next day. Most of them will not receive any substantial punishment, or even a little verbal criticism and education. The bullied person may be questioned by others like, why don't they bully others but you? There must be something wrong with you. This kind of bastard words. As time goes by, those bullies grow up and live their lives without any psychological burden. And those who are bullied, do they grow up without any influence and live their lives? No, of course not. Some of them are lucky enough to come out, but some live in psychological shadows all their lives. They are all ordinary people, ordinary people, and some kind people, some ordinary good people. They don't ask the world to give them anything, they just want to live their own lives. But even this request, the world will not give them. These words touched Peter's heart. Before he obtained the light, he also lived the same life as the boy. This made Peter fall into thinking. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. While saving the world, he should start with these small things. No, this is not a small matter. Peter took a deep breath. He wanted to change something. Monsters must be beaten. The evil ones must be caught. Bullying must be stopped. He really cares about these trivial matters. I was too busy before with hospitalization and two-headed rats. After solving the two-headed rats, I was hospitalized again. When I go back this time, I must do something. Let's start with Thompson. The video continues. The cause of the incident was that the boy was digging the soil with a shovel. No one knows the reason. People living nearby know this weirdo who digs the soil all day long. The adults use this weirdo as a topic of conversation after dinner, while the more curious and fearless teenagers chose to find out for themselves. A group of teenagers looked at the boy digging the soil, and they discussed each other's identity. The leader was Jack's brother-in-law Sakatajiro. Could he be an alien? It's possible. He should just be disguised as a child. Compared to Sakatajiro and his group, who were about the same size as the digging boy and dared to hide and peek, the 3 bad boys who came on bicycles were more arrogant. They asked who the boy was, why he was digging the soil, whether he was an alien, and whether there was any conspiracy. Why did they ask these questions? Maybe they were bored, or they might be curious, or they might have the mentality of showing off in front of others. I revealed the alien conspiracy, which even the Mad Team, the Earth Defense team where Jack is, who fights monsters all day long, couldn't do. You can see how powerful I am. As for the boy's feelings, who cares? I just found out this afternoon that Damo and Ermal had a fight, so my classmates and I discussed whether we could hear about Ermal's death before evening self-study. Chapter 278 Bruce's sudden realization. They are usually arrogant in the surrounding area, and they are the best at bullying the weak. If you ask them to fly a plane to fight monsters, they will only tell you that it is the responsibility of the Mad Team and what it has to do with them. But if you say to bully others, hey, then I won't be sleepy. Seeing that the boy didn't say anything, the 3 bad guys suddenly felt bored. So they decided to go upstairs and take a look. What? The boy's feelings? Other people's privacy? If they care about this, can they still be called bad guys? Funny. The boy hurriedly ran to stop the 3 bad guys. When he saw this, no one can go up to the 2nd floor. The 3 bad guys saw this and became interested. That's right. If we bully you, and you don't resist, isn't it a waste of our bullying? The 3 bad guys pushed the boy away and went upstairs. Seeing this, the boy casually posed. Hey, ha. The boy made a strange sound loudly, and one of the bad boys was lifted up by an invisible force on the spot, and the remaining 2 bad boys fled in panic. Seeing this, the boy put him down. The boy did not hurt the bad boy, even though the other party was aggressive before, and did not care about his feelings at all. The boy just wanted to scare him away, and let him not bother him again. However, kindness is always misunderstood. In the eyes of evil people, kindness is only regarded as weakness. The bad boy who was put down shouted to his 2 companions, he can't be an alien. An alien must not have only this ability. Peter's mood was really ups and downs. He finally came out of the previous confusion and sadness, and saw a scene that made him angry. Why should good people be bullied? Shouldn't good people have candy? Logan, these little bastards should be severely punished. It is best to break 2 bones for each of them. In this way, they will obey you when they see you. The weaker you are to them, the more arrogant they will be. Bruce Wayne, no, it can't be like that. Bruce Wayne, this boy should be just an ordinary person. If I'm not mistaken, the source of his telekinesis just now is that Met Starman. Bruce Wayne, why Met Starman lives with the boy, and what happened between them, I don't know, but excessive display of his power will definitely cause people to panic. At that time, once the identity of Met Starman is exposed, it will be a real big trouble. Bruce Wayne, this world is different from our world. From the previous super weapon R1 of 7, we can see that this Earth has been threatened by aliens for a long time. For aliens, people's first reaction is the threat of death and invasion. If Met Starman is exposed, even this boy will be in danger of his life. Bruce Wayne, this is like a marathon of vomiting blood. The video continues, the scene changes, and the boy is caught. His whole body is buried in the soil, leaving only his head outside. The bad guys take a bucket of sewage mixed with industrial wastewater and muddy water and pour it on the boy's hair. The boy's eyes are closed, but this is not enough for the bad guys. They want to execute the alien. For justice. Evil alien, your plan to invade the Earth has been discovered by us. Now, we are going to execute you. The bad guys announced their verdict. They sentenced the boy to be an evil alien just because his behavior is strange, just because he is not sociable, and just because he has superpowers. Just because the boy's superpowers failed to kill them. The last word was printed on the screen of the projection room in scarlet blood font. The color of the font was printed on the screen of the projection room, and also in the hearts of everyone. The ugly side of human beings was gradually revealed at this moment. Having seen the madness of Gotham, Bruce Wayne was still shocked by this kind of crime, which was not even a small fight compared to Gotham, but just a child's play. Because these things were done by a few underage teenagers. Is human nature good or evil? Several bad guys poured dirty water on the boy's head and shouted, "Transform if you have the ability." Stupid, if they are forced to transform, you will be the first to die. If the boy could kill them easily, these guys would not dare to treat the boy like this, even if they had the courage. Am I right? The video continues. A bad guy got on a bicycle and rushed towards the boy. They want to execute the boy for their justice, because the boy may be an alien. It's just a possibility. The evil of mankind is revealed. Just at the last second, when the bicycle was about to hit the boy, a yellow figure appeared and blocked the bicycle. The evil of human nature was displayed vividly in front of everyone. Peter took a deep breath and became more resolute in his heart. Humans will not be like this. There must be love and light between people, but they are buried and shrouded by darkness. Uncle Ben, Aunt May, Gwen, Harry, Uncle George, they are all good people, and they all have light in their hearts. Other people must have their own light in their hearts. I must make the light of human soul reappear in the world. When the adults saw this scene, they were speechless. Compared with Peter, others are more mature and have a clearer understanding of the world. Although they were moved by Peter's heart, they knew better how difficult it was. As a native citizen of Gotham, Bruce Wayne knew better how simple the folk customs of Gotham were. When he saw this scene, he suddenly felt enlightened. Perhaps the real reason for Gotham is not the criminals at all. It's the future of Gotham. That is, the young people of Gotham. The problem lies in this link. There is a big problem with the young people of Gotham, the freshest blood of Gotham. If we simply arrest criminals and send them to prison, it will be useless. Gotham is rotten to the root. The root of Gotham is rotten. If we want Gotham to be reborn, we must rescue it from the root. If we want to save Gotham, we must start with the young people. This time, Bruce's heart also lit up a little spark, but this flame was just a spark, but it didn't burn fiercely. He was also waiting. He also wanted to know the answer to this story. No, I have to write of his friends from the stars into it. I want to make the world feel light and love. Chapter 279. The bitter wine goes down my throat and my heart aches, and the night is long without her in my dream. The video continues. The person who came was Xiang. Xiang pushed the bicycle over and asked why the bad guys did such a bastard thing. Faced with Xiang's questioning, the bad guys just said that this guy was an alien, so they wanted to kill him. One bad guy even urged Xiang to shoot and kill this guy quickly. Of course Xiang couldn't agree, so he could only say that he would deal with this matter first and let the bad guys go back quickly. Amid the bad guys cursing and calling him a beast, a bastard, and an alien, Xiang pulled the boy out of the pit. The boy's name is Sakuma Ryo, and Xiang asked him why he dug the pit. Sakuma Ryo of course didn't answer. Xiang didn't interrogate Sakuma Ryo like the others, or treat Sakuma Ryo as an alien. Gently Xiang wiped Sakuma Ryo's face, and then told Sakuma Ryo that, even if you don't say it, I will investigate it. The investigation is out of the responsibility of the MAD team to protect the Earth, and not interrogating, is to protect Sakuma Ryo's privacy. Sakuma Ryo thanked Xiang Deo and ran away. When he ran to the house, Sakuma Ryo turned his head and said to Xiang, I'm not an alien, I was born in Hokkaido, I'm a Japanese. This child must be hiding something. What is it? Xiang thought. The next day, Jian Liang was cooking a pot of porridge in the house, and the three heard that the result of the MAD team's investigation was Sakuma Ryo is an Earthling, not an alien. They were very dissatisfied. What? That guy is obviously an alien. Why? Because I think he is an alien. Those who disagree with me are idiots. They all deserve to die. The three bad guys came here with a dog and continued to bully Jian Liang. They kicked over the porridge that Jian Liang had not cooked with great difficulty. When Jian Liang tried to hold back his tears and wanted to put the porridge back into the pot bit by bit, they even stepped on the porridge flowing on the ground with their feet. Jian Liang's psychological defense was like porridge being trampled, and he couldn't hold it anymore, so he cried. Seeing Jian Liang crying, the three bad guys became even more excited. Asshole alien, you can cry too. It's so funny. You use your superpowers. You use your superpowers to kill me. Aren't you strong? Come on. The arrogance of the three bad guys completely ignited Jian Liang's anger. Jian Liang ignored the heat of the charcoal, picked up a piece of charcoal, and wrestled with the bad guys. Most humans are like this, bullying the weak and fearing the strong. The brave are angry and draw their blades to the stronger. The cowardly are angry, but draw their blades to the weaker. If Jian Liang had shot one of the bad guys in the head directly now, they would definitely not dare to do so, but would have been frightened and panicked, fled in a panic, and surrendered. But Jian Liang didn't do that. He just blew the wild dog that was biting him into pieces, and then scared the three bad guys away. Perhaps out of kindness, or perhaps out of fear of causing greater trouble, Jian Liang let them go. At this time, a mysterious monk happened to pass by here. In the MAD team base, the current MAD team captain Ibuki was discussing the boy with Xiang. When Sakuma Ryo was 6 years old, his father chose to flee to Tokyo to avoid taking responsibility for the mine collapse. Later, Sakuma Ryo's mother also took Sakuma Ryo to Tokyo to find his father, but to no avail. Later, Sakuma Ryo's mother died of illness, and then Sakuma Ryo disappeared. Captain Ibuki put down the information in his hand, sighed, and said, I can't imagine how much this boy hates his father. Go, I remember. Yes. Go replied, I'm also an orphan, but I still have the MAD team as my home, and you, the captain, as my father. Captain Ibuki nodded, his heavy voice full of sympathy for Sakuma Ryo. Even under the ruins, Ryo still did not wait for his father's love. If his father is really an alien, and because of this Ryo has suffered discrimination and even violence since childhood, he has to cut off the bond of love. This must not be allowed. The captain gave the task of monitoring Sakuma Ryo to go, but, although it was called monitoring, it was actually protection. We must never let children cut off the bond of love. Bond. The bond of love is the emotion of loving and being loved. It is the bond between people and the most powerful force in the world. The power of love between people can trigger incredible miracles. Hikaru said, if the bond of love between people disappears, then the real doomsday will come. Bond, Nexus. Peter took out the evolution thruster in his arms and stroked it repeatedly. The bond of love between people, the bond of mutual trust between people, is the most powerful force in the world. If people can trust each other and care for each other, there will be no discrimination, no oppression, no. As a science student, Tony had 1,000 ways to refute Hikaru's words in his heart, but seeing that everyone was in deep thought, Tony learned his lesson and did not speak harshly. He now understood the rules of the theater. You won't die here, but if you get beaten up for being a jerk, it would be fair if the theater doesn't add fuel to the fire. Love? Tony also dragged his chin and thought about this topic. He still remembered another time when the captain looked emo, which was not common for Captain America. He wanted to laugh at the captain, but in order to satisfy his curiosity, he chose to find out what happened before laughing at the captain. As a result, the captain went to see his lover, Carter Peggy, one of the founders of SHIELD. Tony heard the love story that spanned a century from the captain. The skinny soldier who had just entered the barracks met a heroic and caring female officer. When the soldier became the famous Captain America, they went through life and death together again, and finally separated for 70 years. But even after 70 years, whether it was Peggy or Steve, they still believed that the other was their best dance partner. They always chat together. Vision can talk to Wanda about the origin of the universe for an entire afternoon. Although Wanda doesn't understand anything, she still feels extremely happy. And Peter has been either in the hospital or the police station these days, but even if he just said that he and Gwen were walking hand in hand, even if he and Gwen talked about such annoying issues as justice and evil, Gwen would still listen with great interest. What about me? Talking about this with those Hollywood actresses? Come on. Those women prefer to hear all kinds of information about Hollywood and the black material of competitors. And if Tony talked to them about his real hobby, building mecha, he would be doomed. Although a genius playboy can change a woman a day, or even more than a dozen a day, he has never experienced such a simple, but warm love as Peter. Well, it seems that there is still a little impression of his first love, probably. For Tony, the love between people is the love between him and his parents. But, both his parents are dead. He seems to have everything, but actually he has nothing. No, he still has Pepper. Bullshit about love and justice. I'm the Joker anyway. I can't get love anyway. TMD. Let's destroy together. It was already painful, and it's even more painful after writing it. I remember that I have a female fan. Let me ask, can you join the group and help me analyze it? Group number 1,161,933,623. The author is crying. Chapter 280. A new question type. Xiang once again came to the shabby house where Jian Liang lived. The dead silent house and the rope loops on the beams made Xiang suddenly have some bad premonitions in his heart. Xiang called Jian Liang's name, and at this moment, Xiang discovered something. And in the town on the other side, Jian Liang was holding a shabby black umbrella, and the raindrops hit the black umbrella with a dripping sound. Jian Liang walked on the road and quickly attracted the attention of people in the town. There was constant gossip, but they all couldn't do without the 3 words astronaut. Jian Liang wanted to buy bread, but the boss's wife refused to sell it to him, so Jian Liang had to leave. This kind of thing, in fact, is not the first time. The boss's daughter Yoko caught up with Jian Liang and said that she wanted to sell bread to him. Jian Liang smiled happily. He spent money to buy the bread and didn't forget to thank the gentle big sister in front of him. After running a few steps, Jian Liang turned around and shouted, "Thank you very much. Kind people are like this. Even if they are tortured by darkness, as long as a ray of sunshine falls into their hearts, the dark clouds in their hearts will dissipate, even if it is only temporary. Kind people are always like this. They don't ask for anything else, just want to live a stable life. He will remember the kindness of others to him firmly in his heart, and repay a drop of water with a spring of gratitude. And he may remember the bad things others do to him, but it is only second to remembering kindness. Maybe cowardice, who knows? When will the cycle of revenge end? Kind people always face the malice of others with their own kindness, and finally get themselves covered with bruises. What is wrong may not be this world, but those people, the kindness of those people. The boss blamed his daughter for selling bread to Jian Liang, or Jian Liang might come to buy bread every day in the future. Isn't that better? Our house is a bakery. Yoko walked away with a smile, and Jian Liang happily returned to the hut where he lived. Sometimes, your kindness can make a person happy for a whole day, and your kindness may be able to save a pure heart that is falling into the endless abyss. When Jian Liang came to the small shabby house, Xiang had already come to the second floor of the hut, and had already communicated with the old man who had lived with him for a year. Jian Liang was very frightened, and hurriedly wanted to drive Xiang out of the house, but the old man with disheveled hair and ulcers on his skin stopped Jian Liang. I have told Xiang team members everything. This old man is the Met star who saved Jian Liang in the heavy rain a year ago. The light outside the window shone through the wooden boards of the shabby house and hit the three people, and Met star answered all of Xiang's questions. That was a year ago. I came to Earth to investigate the climate of Earth. It was cold and raining. Liang was chased by the monster Miruki all the way and almost died. I sealed the monster underground and hid the spaceship underground. I wanted to raise Liang as my son, take care of Liang, live on Earth, and treat Earth as my second home. Such a life is actually not bad. I'm very happy. But just like flowers and plants wither in autumn, my body is constantly tortured by this polluted air. The industrial exhaust gas emitted by cars and chimneys tortures and erodes my body and life. Jian Liang wiped his tears and said, "Uncle is dying. I have to dig quickly." "I understand." Xiang nodded, and the scene changed. Xiang and Jian Liang came to the place where he had dug before. The two of them took hoes and shovels and dug together. With a hoe and a shovel, the boy gradually opened his heart to Xiang. "Do you still miss your father?" "I don't have any father. I want to return to Metz with my uncle." "Do you want to leave the Earth?" "The more society develops, the more indifferent people will be to each other. I want to escape from the Earth before the world becomes like that." Seeing the scene of Xiang and Jian Liang working together to dig, everyone's heart became tense. "No, it won't be that bad. Let this child leave with the Metz people." Everyone silently prayed for this child in their hearts, and even Constantine drew a decent cross. But at this moment, a loud noise suddenly came from the screen. It's right there. It's so abominable. Matt not only didn't kill the aliens, but also became an accomplice with them. Kill the aliens. Kill the traitors. Kill them. A group of aggressive people, some with bare hands and some with tools, ran towards Jian Liang. From their clothes, we can tell their identities. Office workers, bakers, businessmen, workers. They are all nearby residents. They arrested Jian Liang and wanted to execute him directly. Although Xiang is a human, he is still a mortal body of flesh and blood and is no match for a group of big men. Jian Liang struggled, and Xiang also tried his best to clarify that Jian Liang was not an alien, but it was useless. The strong bullied the weak, and the evil flower in the hearts of humans began to bloom at this moment. Seeing that Jian Liang was in danger, the Met Starman could no longer bear it. He couldn't let Jian Liang get hurt because of himself. The Met Starman came out and shouted loudly, "Enough. Let Jian Liang go. I'm an alien. I'm an alien." When the ordinary Earth boy Jian Liang was suspected of being an alien, people were excited and wanted to eat his blood, eat his flesh, and sleep on his skin. But when the real alien appeared, people were scared, and no longer had the courage they had before. Jian Liang and the Met Star hugged each other. For Jian Liang now, only the Met Star's embrace could give him warmth. Just then, an adult shouted, "Hurry up. Do you want to wait until he pounces on you and bites off your heads before you start?" After saying that, he took the lead and killed the Met Star. Seeing this, the others also subconsciously rushed over, not noticing that the guy who shouted to kill the Met Star at the beginning had quietly slipped to the periphery at some point. The crowd surrounded Xiang, the Met Star, and Jian Liang in the middle. When they found that this alien was different from the previous aliens who came to invade the Earth, he did not have the powerful power to kill them, and the malice in their hearts was completely released. In a trance, there was a gunshot. The crowd gradually calmed down. The Met Star fell down after being shot. The shooter made up another shot, completely ending the life of the Met Star. Xiang fell to his knees. The excited crowd did not cheer for his victory. In the empty wilderness, only Jian Liang's heart-wrenching cry echoed. Xiang is not a god, and Ultraman is not a god. At this moment, Xiang began to think about a question he had never thought about before. Is such a human really worth protecting? Questioning begins. This question is an argumentative question. Please write an article. Choose one of the following 2 questions. The time is 1 hour. There are 2 optional questions. 1. Why do people want to kill the Mets people too? Is such a human really worth protecting by Ultraman? Reward depends on the answer. People are becoming more and more indifferent to each other. This is indeed deeply touched. A large part of the disagreement between me and my family is also because the times have changed. My family is more inclined to the old ideas. I personally agree with their ideas, but I can't accept it because some things have really changed and I really can't think about them with the old thinking. Chapter 281 God is always blind. For a better answering environment, please watch the following video. The video continues. Xiang fell to his knees and pounded the ground heavily. He hated his own powerlessness and what people did. He began to question the meaning of protecting such people. Before this, the boy told Xiang that on the other side of the river, the monster Mirage was sealed by the Mets people. The boy held the bloody hand of the Mets people, and Xiang's expression changed subtly. On the other side of the river, a puff of white smoke rose, and the monster Mirage, which was sealed here by the Mets people a year ago, finally broke out of the ground. Mirage was sealed by the Mets people. With the death of the Mets people, Mirage also broke free from the seal and began to destroy everything around him. The crowd that had been arrogant and madly beating the old man and the boy finally panicked. They saw the boy's weakness and knew that the boy was not a spaceman, so they used violence against the boy. After the old man admitted his identity as a spaceman, they retreated in fear because they didn't know whether the old man or the spaceman would kill them in the next second. They were afraid of the old man's possible power. But when the old man showed his weakness, people went crazy. They realized that this was a weak person who could be bullied by them, and they also realized that this was an object for them to vent their anger. The most important and wonderful thing is that they don't have to take any responsibility for killing him, because this is a spaceman. So they killed the old man, but didn't dare to kill the boy who might be a human, because the boy might be a human, and killing people would be imprisoned. And now, the terrifying giant beast broke out of the ground. Its scarlet eyes were chilling, its sharp roar contained a strong murderous intent, and it was ready to take their lives at any time. So they no longer had the courage before, let alone fighting the monster. That kind of thing is clearly the responsibility of the MAD team. We are just a group of ordinary citizens. How can we fight monsters? That's right. The MAD team is the one who should fight monsters. Otherwise, why do they get so much salary? We killed the evil aliens. The MAD team still needs Ultraman to defeat the monsters. What's the use of them? Xiang stared blankly at Miruki, who broke out of the ground. The boy's crying was still echoing in his ears. He lowered his head and had no intention of transforming into Jack to fight. Jack did not urge Xiang, and he didn't want to fight either. Miruki spewed flames at the people, as if the gods were punishing these executioners. But the funny thing was that it was only a monster, not a god, that spewed flames. Even if there was a god, he never had mercy on the poor child. He put countless pains on the poor child. God is always blind. Rich people are not short of money, but they can always make money. Poor people who need money are calculating every penny. Healthy people always squander their health, staying up late, lying on the bed like a dead body for a whole day, while those who want to stand up and walk can only lie in bed motionless with their eyes wide open. Don't think I'm scolding you, I'm too. People who are not short of love are always loved by others. There are countless people around him, and he can squander the love of others for him at will, because he is not short of love. But those who really want to love and be loved are always let down. Jian Liang is just a child. He suffered from the indifference of the world. He finally met someone who loved him, but the person he loved died. Those who do evil can continue to live their lives without any burden in their hearts, and continue to love and be loved. Why? On what basis? Because God is blind. Those cosmic people who killed the evil and the righteous men who upheld justice fled in the face of the monster's threat, and when they fled, they did not forget to turn their heads and yell to Xiang, that guy, hurry up and deal with the monster. They ran away, and Mirach's shrill screams and the boy's sad cries mixed into a sad song that resounded through the world, bidding farewell to the Met's starman. Xiang, the streets are already a mess. The monk wearing a bamboo hat who had appeared before came over. He came to remind Xiang to go to the battle. Xiang looked around. Flames were burning everywhere. Raindrops flowed along the eaves. And looking at Mirach who was frantically destroying the earth, he finally realized his responsibility. Xiang ran towards Mirach, and while running, Xiang's body was shining with light. Jack Ultraman appeared. Mirach is a very weak monster. If Jack is willing to use all his strength to fight it, he can defeat it quickly. If he uses the anger of fighting Knuckle, Jack can spark, and Mirach's head will fall to the ground. Jack and Xiang were filled with anger, but was it directed at Mirach? I think it shouldn't be. But Mirach's own strength is also there. The rain is getting heavier and heavier, and the flames are getting higher and higher, but Jack still seizes the opportunity and knocks Mirach unconscious with a hand knife. After throwing Mirach into the sea of fire, a specium ray ends the battle. Okay, everyone can start writing. Are you planning to let us publish a book next time? If you are willing, it's not impossible. Anyway, you can submit it or not. Faced with the new attempt of the screening room, everyone was collectively speechless. Peter was lamenting how he had to do homework in school, and he had to do homework when he came to the screening room. Bruce Wayne was a little unfamiliar with this thing. Let's be honest, although Bruce Wayne is a super academic master, he used the persona of a playboy to disguise himself when he was in school. Have you ever seen a playboy handing in homework in school? Tony is better, at least he has written many papers, but it's a bit short to write 2 questions in an hour. Magneto took a deep breath, looked at the paper and pen in front of him and remained silent. Forget it, write something. The world of X-Men. Logan looked at the paper and pen in front of him, and his eyes unconsciously glanced at Charles beside him. In the world of WandaVision, Wanda also made the same action, but the person she glanced at was Vision. By the way, a friendly reminder, it seems that, no matter which world it is, writing papers for others is a very excessive thing. I don't mean to threaten you, you can try it. Really, try it. Logan, if I write something casually and hand it in, I won't draw a penalty card. No, but I will announce all the answers one by one. Logan, blank paper. I hand in a blank paper. The poor students were still arguing with the invigilator, while the top students were already racing against time to answer the questions. 1 hour was too short to finish 2 papers, so they decided to pick a topic each. Peter chose the topic, are these humans worth protecting? Bruce started with the tragedy of the Mets people, that is, why humans wanted to kill them. Everyone remember to wear a mask when you go out and move towards the future together. Chapter 282 talks about the progress of the plot. I was wrong, brothers. I will add a free chapter later, 2000 words, the main content. You may think that I wrote too watery. I can only say that people have a yardstick to measure each other. I personally don't know the standard for writing exciting Legend of Light. In fact, many people came for Tigger. I can only say, you play a landlord and put the king bomb at the beginning? No way. I must put Tigger in the last and finale, okay? And when it comes to Tigger, I will definitely write more detailed, instead of simply summarizing the plot, and then talking about how shocked the people in the theater are, and then asking a random question, and that's it. I think that is disrespectful to Tigger's God reply. If you want to see that kind of fast food mode, I will write it when the 6th volume is crazy and diverse. I have been a fan of Ultraman for many years. The first Ultraman I came into contact with was Tigger. I didn't understand it at the time, so I just wanted to watch Ultraman fighting small monsters. Now I watch it again. Damn, how can this literary drama be so good? The real core of every Ultraman is to convey the inner light, so Trigger was criticized so badly. Actually, I think Trigger is okay. At least, he still follows the general direction of Ultraman. At least he didn't show me the plot, where Kengo has a harem, Carmilla, and the lady flying the plane whose name I forgot. Then the annoying plot, where the villain is unwilling to do something, and gets slapped in the face by Kengo. If it is really filmed like that, then Subaraya will be in trouble. I have a rather contradictory psychological structure. On the one hand, I'm very slow. When I read a book, as long as the author does not put 2 pounds of green phosphorus smoke in the book, I will not feel anything. So no matter where I see someone in a book saying that the book is poisonous, I will be very annoyed. What the hell is poisonous? If you don't want to read it, just get out of here and don't delay me. I followed a book about cultivating immortals for a few days ago. It was so bad. The book review section was full of people scolding the author for writing antivirus books. I saw it was put on the shelves and subscribed to the first 20 photos, but there was nothing poisonous about it. I can only say that people's constitutions cannot be generalized. I actually don't think there is anything wrong with some poisonous points. There are usually 2 reasons why I can't finish reading a book. One is that the protagonist is too stupid. For example, in a book with a good theme, like Genes or something, the protagonist is either stupid or stupid. You can understand it as Tang-san's undisguised 3 views. The family raised him and let him work, but he felt that the family treated him unfairly and cut off his chance to practice. My mother's previous life was a waste, and now you have to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger and continue to be a waste. This arrangement of you working in a factory is for your own good. Another reason is that the updates are too slow. Sometimes I forget the old books when I have a new book. These 2 situations are probably the main reasons for me to abandon books. On the other hand, I'm actually a bit fragile. I can't stand any stimulation. But reality is a very fucked up story. I won't tell those fucked up stories about me here. I will tell them in a small theater when I have time. Anyway, if it is like the guy with the blue pill avatar who makes reasonable suggestions, I think there is no problem. By the way, brother, why are you still an intern? But if you deliberately disgust me, I don't want it. I wrote a book to earn some money. Hey, I don't care if you get it for free. I'll just treat it as charity. I know that the pirated website must have stolen this one, so I said it. I don't care if you read a pirated version. I also read pirated versions when I had no money. Now that I have money, I subscribe to the genuine version. I will just treat you as a poor student. I will do charity to earn some merit. You are looking for trouble by reading a pirated version and come to my genuine book review area. Are you deliberately looking for trouble? If I didn't find it troublesome, I would have to read the anti-theft chapter. I have a habit of reading book reviews before going to bed. These 2 days, I have been possessed by evil spirits. In the early morning, some idiots left cerebral palsy remarks in the book review area. Then I was so angry that I couldn't sleep on the spot. So I hired a friend of mine to be a disciplinary assistant. If you see this, please leave a message here to let the book friends know you. Why did I open a book friend group after the book was launched? It was because an idiot who got it for free had sneaked into the book friend group before. He first posted prohibited content and then reported it and closed my group. After the work, he deliberately sent me messages to disgust me. Can people have some bottom line and some shame? Finally, everyone remember to wear masks. I also wish that friends who like to read my books, who are willing to have fun with me in the books and vent the negative emotions accumulated in reality, be happy every day and get out of singlehood soon, regardless of whether they spend money or not. Chapter 283 The Fastest and Strongest Maximum, The Miracle of the Third Planet. Peter Parker, are humans really worthy of Ultraman's protection? I'm not Ultraman, and I don't know what Mr. Ace, Mr. Hickory, and Mr. Jack think. But, from my own point of view, humans are worthy of protection. I think humans are a very complex creature. Aunt May is very gentle, but she will also quarrel with her neighbors over trivial matters. Humans are a kind of creature that is intertwined with light and darkness. There is both a bright side and a dark side in the heart of a person. Even in an evil person, there must be kindness in his heart. Unless he is a complete lunatic. That kind of guy is no longer worthy of being called a human. I have obtained the power of Noah, and I can be regarded as half Ultraman. I think that Noah gave me the power, not only because he hopes that I can protect humans, but also because he hopes that I can lead the light in people's hearts. Uncle Ben said before he died that the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Since I have this ability, I naturally have to take on this responsibility. Mr. Hickory said that you can do as much as you can with your power. If I were still a powerless ordinary person, I might be able to sit back and watch the tragedy happen, because I can't do anything. But now I have enough power to influence the world, so I have to do something. I also misunderstood Uncle Ben's words at that time. He might want to tell me to do what I can do, but now it seems that no matter how I interpret this sentence, it is fine. And combined with Mr. Hickory's words, this sentence is the final and complete version. So I think that, since I have gained the power to save people from darkness, I must use this power well and not let Noah's light be buried in me. Light can not only protect humans from the material side, it can also protect people's hearts. I don't know what to do, but I will do my best to complete it. Everyone has different ideas and starting points. For example, Loki wrote about both topics and used all his space to promote the darkness of human nature and the inferiority of human beings, as well as the nobility of their Asgardian gods. He kept saying that you need to be ruled by us, or more precisely, by me, Loki. Thanos started from a more unique perspective. He believed that, since the tragedy of the Mets people came from fear, if we could find a way to eliminate people's fear, then the tragedy of the Mets people would not have happened. In comparison, Constantine was even more unique. He directly discussed from a theological perspective whether the group of humans should go to hell. The residents killed the Mets people in order to protect themselves. This was violence and killing, and they should go to hell. But God did not write in the Bible whether aliens were included in the people who could not be killed. Christianity allows killing animals. In their doctrine, only humans can think, and animals cannot think. Now it has been gradually proven that this is nonsense, so they can be killed. Then aliens have the ability to think, but they are not human beings. Can they be killed? Moreover, as lambs, people should protect their lives, because they are God's property and God's lambs. So from this point of view, what they did seems to be right. I won't say much about the illiterate group. Those who understand will understand. Compared with the illiterate group who wrote a few dry words, the humanity group who wrote long essays, and the strange group whose brain circuits are unknown. One of Strange and his assistant Wang wrote mediocre, and the other handed in a blank paper. At least write a little. Did he say that he would deduct points from you? Write as much as you can. Wang didn't want to talk about this. Doctor, is your assistant okay? Hikaru also noticed Wang's abnormality at this moment. He still had a deep impression of Wang. Although he couldn't remember Wang's specific appearance, Hikaru was still quite impressed by this man who dared to play a multiple choice game when everyone thought it was a single choice question, and then successfully opened the door to a new world. Hikaru tried hard to recall Wang's deeds, and suddenly felt that Wang didn't seem to have much performance in the screening room except for the operation. That shocked everyone and amazed everyone. Strange made a hand gesture similar to the orchid finger, with an expression that said no one knows the king better than me. He will be fine. You will know when he comes to the screening room. The video continues. Mirachi died. This guy was very weak. After Murky died, the sky cleared up. Uncle is not dead. He just went back to Mets. The boy dragged the trailer. Tears kept falling from his eyes, and a crying voice came out of his mouth, murmuring words to comfort himself. Once, he also dragged the trailer like this, and came to this field with his uncle from Mets to dig for spaceships. Now, everything is the same, except that the uncle in the car is gone. Uncle, if I go to Mets, you must come to pick me up. Definitely. The boy came to the place where he had dug before and continued to dig. He had no intention of stopping, and no one knew when he would finish digging. The Kingdom of Light, Jack the Monster Messenger and the boy, and now playing Easter eggs. Are there any more Easter eggs? Everyone immediately perked up. They all wanted to know whether the boy had gone to MedStar. It's still the same place, and it's still the same boy, but the boy has grown up. A girl in a white dress can always see the boy who has been digging holes on the way to and from school. That's a very strange person. The girl's voice turned into narration, telling everyone about the boy. I always see him digging holes here. One time I asked him what he was doing here, and his answer was that he was looking for a disc, which is an alien spaceship. Before I could ask more, my mother called me away. My mother said that he was an alien and used to live here with his companions. Mom said that aliens are scary. But why are aliens scary? Why? I don't know how long it took, but the big brother disappeared, leaving only a big hole. Everyone said that he returned to the universe, and they were all happy about it. So, the big brother should have gone to reunite with his family. There are indeed bad people among aliens. They are all bad guys, but there are also good people among them. If we regard all aliens as bad people, then what is the difference between us and bad people? 10 minutes of rest, and 10 minutes later, the play begins. The fastest and strongest maximum, the miracle of the third planet. Please rate Bruce and Peter here. I will give them points as appropriate. Due to the length of the article, except for these two, I will give the others a minimum score. Illiterate people like Logan and Magneto will get 0 points. If you have anything to say or any comments, you can also say it here. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284, Aguang's magical invention. Line of Light. Maximum, the fastest and strongest? Father O'Neill was a little curious. If this Maximum Ultraman was not the Ultraman of their universe, it would be fine. But if Maximum was the Ultraman of their Land of Light, then he was really curious about how that Ultraman could be called the fastest and strongest. Wait a moment. Tarikia called up a system, checked it for a while and said, I found the information of Ultraman Maximum from the Kingdom of Light in our universe. Maximum Ultraman, currently serving as the planetary civilization observer of the Ultra Guard. He is 48 meters tall, weighs 37,000 tons, and is 7,792 years old this year. He used to be a combatant and made great achievements in battle. He was only one step away from winning an Order of the Star. Later, because he was tired of fighting, he took the initiative to be transferred to be a planetary civilization observer. Now he is partnered with Ultraman Geno, observing the development of civilization on the planet Yekames. Tarikia talked about Maximum's information, as if he knew it by heart, because all the information about Maximum was on the information panel in his hand, and there was even real-time monitoring of Maximum's current situation. Some of this information is entered by the system, and some is filled in by Maximum himself. Tregia pointed to several parameters and said, the current parameters show that Maximum is observing in the universe, and no battle has taken place. The energy detection system developed by Commander Hickory provides too much information to our Ultra Warriors. Father Ao sighed. When our personnel from the Kingdom of Light were sent out, if something happened, they would probably die in battle without knowing why. With the energy detection system, we can provide better support and reduce our casualties. Yes. Zofie nodded and said, back then, Hickory relied on this invention to make his number of star medals equal to mine. And it was also with the energy detection system that we could quickly support Ultra Warriors in danger on various planets. Zofie said to Ace, we were able to quickly support you back then, and Hickory played an indispensable role. Well, as for the fact that they were made into bronze statues after the support, and the classic Ultraman group was left with only the group, there is no need to say more. Those who understand the dark history understand. So Maximum was sent to support the Earth. This kid can be called the fastest and strongest. It seems that he can still be trained. However, he probably doesn't want to. Tregia, notify the kid and ask him if he wants to come back to watch the video. Okay. In the theater. The fastest and strongest? Maximum? Although the evaluations in the theater were crazy, they were basically in line with the general character setting. So this Maximum Ultraman must be very powerful. Mr. Hikaru, are you familiar with this Ultraman Maximum? Hikaru tried hard to recall and said, I gave him a prop called Maximum Galaxy, which is the original version of the one I gave to Loki before. I heard that he recently applied to be a planetary civilization observer. Maybe he is tired of fighting. It seems that your civilians are all good at fighting. Strange asked suddenly, I remember it was mentioned in the previous video that the Ultraman, the first generation, was a professor at Ultra University, and Ultraman 7 was also a planetary observer. It seems that their combat effectiveness is very strong. Because the task of planetary observation is also the responsibility of the Ultra Guard. Hikaru said, after many Ultra warriors are tired, some choose to retire and live in the Kingdom of Light, and some choose to become civilians and protect the universe in another way. It's the same with Maximum, right? So, your civilians are all transferred from combatants. Bruce nodded and kept this information in mind. The civilians in the Kingdom of Light may be more combat effective. Yes, because the Kingdom of Light is very free, everyone can live however they want. But if there is a war, whether it is civilian or military officers, we will definitely unite to defend our home. Protect the peace of this universe. Even as a scientist, I will contribute my insignificant strength to defend my home and peace. Tony Stark, I care more about the title this time, The Miracle of the Third Planet. Tony Stark, the third planet. The Earth is the third planet in the solar system. Captain America, so, it can also be translated as the miracle of the Earth? Tony Stark, yes, Captain. Diana Prince, the miracle of the Earth? It should be a story about the life on Earth trying their best to unite and cooperate to overcome the crisis together. Diana Prince, I think that under the threat of external forces, the life on Earth can definitely work together to overcome the crisis. Loki Odinson, didn't you see the previous messenger of Nongmalt? The people on Earth will definitely only choose to eliminate dissidents. Bruce Wayne, don't confuse the audience. There is no external threat to the messenger of Nongmalt. Your doubt is invalid. Loki Odinson, even if that's the case, you humans will definitely destroy your allies after overcoming the crisis. You humans are such an evil race. Tony Stark, my god, I really don't know where you, an invader who serves others as a dog, get the courage and confidence to say that others are evil. Just as everyone was discussing what the story would be this time, the break in the screening room was over. Everyone, the big one is coming. The fastest and strongest maximum miracle of the third planet starts. Hiss. I'm starting to panic. It won't be the monster messenger and the boy again. Logan, it shouldn't be. Wanda, don't do that. I'm not in the mood for afternoon tea. Captain America, your idea is wrong. We must have the courage to look directly at it. If we don't even have the courage to look directly at it, how can we change him? Peter Parker, yes, the human heart is dark, but there is also light. We have to grope in the darkness until we find the light in our hearts. Loki Odinson, human boy, I admire you very much. I didn't expect you to be assimilated by those guys who talk about justice. I'm very disappointed. Thanos, that is better than being assimilated by you. Peter has found his own beliefs and made it clear what he wants to do. He already has a strong heart. In comparison, you are as ridiculous as a child who has not grown up. Looking at the full fire ridicule of himself in the barrage, Loki was short of breath. Damn, why is everyone targeting me? The miracle of the third planet, distant friends, streets that are no longer being sniped, the finale. What else do you want to see? Everything is easy to say except the dream episode. Chapter 285. Ultraman is definitely not a babysitter for humans. I have to say that in this chapter, please do not include the following book reviews. 1. The fastest, the strongest, the greenest. 2. Yifu can be killed by so and so, such as that annoying fanfiction's Hyperzeton, or he can be influenced by Gorse. The connotation of Yifu is that violence will only lead to greater violence, and there are occasions for playing memes. I seldom say this, but Yifu deserves a special mention. Yifu is not used to compare combat power with you. It's like Guangong fighting Qin Kai Yang, which is irrelevant. I get annoyed when I see this. A BO. It's okay at normal times, but comparing combat power with Yifu, a representative of the anti-war spirit, and thinking about how to kill Yifu, the fastest and strongest. Maximum background summary. In the 21st century, natural disasters around the world still show no signs of stopping. Even creatures that are considered to be fantasy, monsters, have begun to appear. In order to deal with the crisis of mankind, the United Nations has set up the UDF, the Earth Defense Federation. One of its elite forces is the Anti-Monster Defense Force, outside the Earth. 2 planetary civilization observers from the M78 Nebula in this universe, Maximum Ultraman and Geno Ultraman, are also quietly observing Earth civilization. Kato Talma, an enthusiastic Earth youth, loves traveling very much. He escaped a major earthquake because of traveling, but his parents at home did not escape. After that, Kato Talma wanted to join the special force that responds to natural disasters, UDF, but was eliminated in the selection. Later, when a monster destroyed a place, Kato Talma bravely rescued people, and his spirit of daring to sacrifice moved Maximum Ultraman and Dash's captain, Captain Hijikata, who were observing outside. Not only did he become Ultraman's human body, but he also entered Dash. This is a world completely different from the universe of the Kingdom of Light. Ultraman has never appeared on Earth, so people are skeptical about the red giant that first descended on the Earth. Kato Talma wanted to prove to people that Maximum Ultraman is a friend of mankind, so he was deliberately hidden in action and then transformed into Maximum. However, Maximum did not appear, or rather, Maximum did not agree to Kato's transformation request. So, the plane driven by Kato Talma was shot down as expected. In a dark and chaotic space, Kato Talma saw the giant who had saved him before. Ultraman Maximum. Maximum. Ultraman Maximum. Kato Talma called Maximum's name and ran towards Maximum. Why don't you transform, Maximum? Haven't we merged? Maximum did not answer Kato Talma. He turned his head and looked at Kato Talma, then disappeared. Ultraman Maximum Indifference. JPG. Kato Talma woke up in the medical department of Dash. Mizuki and Captain Hijikata played the good cop and the bad cop respectively, telling Dash the meaning of existence and revealing Kato's heart. In their view, Kato's actions were to prove to everyone that Ultraman Maximum was a friend of mankind. Mizuki told Kato that she also believed that Maximum Ultraman was a friend of mankind, but mankind still needed mankind to protect it through their own strength, rather than hiding under Maximum Ultraman's wings forever and accepting Maximum Ultraman's protection. Ultraman is a friend, not a nanny. After Mizuki played the good cop, Captain Hijikata naturally played the bad cop. Captain Hijikata took away Kato's team badge and asked Kato to think about it himself. Outside the ward, Captain Hijikata told Mizuki that Kato would definitely find the answer through his own strength. This, Maximum Ultraman, means that Ultraman should not interfere in human affairs at will? Peter asked, but the invasion of monsters is no longer a matter for humans. First of all, monsters are also creatures of the earth. This should be considered an internal fight. Hikari answered Peter's question. Second, Maximum Ultraman in that universe is definitely unwilling to let humans develop a psychological dependence on Ultraman. We are outsiders after all. We can protect the Earthlings from invasion by foreign enemies, but humans must use their own strength to leave the Earth and move towards the universe. This is a real growth. Ace, yes, blindly guarding will only raise a giant baby. Ace, once the Earthlings are born, anyway, no matter what the problem is, there will be Ultraman to cover the bottom for the Earthlings, so why don't we mess around or give up the idea of living a lifetime under the protection of Ultraman? Then we are the real executioners who killed the Earth. Thanos, whether it is a person, a country, or a planet, if you give up all your defense power and hand it over to outsiders, then this existence is not far from destruction. Captain America, be independent and strong. Relying on others is not as good as relying on yourself. Thanos, at the same time, only by being independent can you make your heart strong. A cowardly heart that always wants to seek shelter from others will never become strong. Image continues. Kato, who was unemployed at the speed of light, sat on a bench in the park in casual clothes. He recalled the words of Maximum, Mizuki and Captain Hijikata in his mind. As long as I merge with you, I can move around on this planet within a certain time limit. I hope you can lend me your power. Ultraman Maximum. I also believe that Ultraman Maximum is our friend, but I think we can't always rely on Ultraman Maximum's power. Mizuki, what we dash does, Ultraman Maximum is also doing. Does all this need to be proven? Captain Hijikata Kato muttered to himself. Ultraman Maximum doesn't want me to do that. Ultraman Maximum said very clearly that he wants to merge with me and lend in power, but I think of myself as Ultraman Maximum and hope to gain recognition from others. Damn, I'm such a fool. Kato realized that he finally understood the meaning of Maximum lending him power. In the days that followed, Ultraman Maximum never refused Kato's transformation again. They worked together to protect the Earth and mankind. Until one day, the fastest and strongest Maximum background summary and the fastest and strongest Maximum miracle of the third planet true on air. In a ward, a little girl sat alone on the bed. Her parents were not around. The girl's name is Azzy. She likes painting and music very much. But, the bastard god likes to destroy other people's happiness the most. Oh no, I shouldn't have written about the miracle of the third planet directly. I should have written a worldview introduction first. Chapter 286 Leafrot, second form. There is a problem with Ayako's eye nerves, and now Ayako must undergo a very dangerous operation. Ruxi and Ayako have a good relationship. Before the operation, Ruxi came to accompany Ayako. However, there is no sign of Ayako's parents. Ocular nerve surgery? Everyone has watched the video and knows that there is a big figure in neurology here. Doctor, what do you think? What is the success rate? You are a professional. The fee for an operation is in tens of thousands, and the currency must be US dollars. Strange's mouth twitched, and he said, I don't know anything. How can I see it? I'll sit and watch. At least let me see the medical records of this little girl. You should know that I usually have a special consultation with the patient first, and then discuss the details of the operation with the professional team, although I usually don't listen to their opinions. But you want me to perform surgery on this child without knowing anything? That's not asking too much. You are killing people. This is surgery on the ocular nerve, not cutting nails. If you are not careful when cutting nails, it may cause an onychomycosis, and if you are unlucky, it may cause death. Strange said angrily, and finally concluded, to be honest, I never take operations that I'm not sure of, because it will affect my resume. Of course, because my level is high enough, there are indeed not many operations that I don't take. But I still can't guarantee the success rate, because I don't even know what disease this girl has. She may have neuropathy, a tumor, or a congenital genetic disease. I don't know anything now. You ask me to simulate the success rate of the operation. Why don't you let Stark use a hammer and scrap metal to knock out a nano-level chip? Strange vented for a while and felt much better. The indescribable feeling of emptiness before also disappeared. The video continues. According to Murphy's Law, the operation failed as expected. So, fate is a complete bastard. Go and torture those bastards. What's your ability to bully a kind little girl? The girl can no longer see. Naturally, she can't paint. But Yazzie was not sad. Instead, she cheered up and comforted Ruxi, who came to comfort her. It doesn't matter. Now I don't have to worry about which one to choose between painting and music. Spring has gone, and winter has come. Since Yazzie was discharged from the hospital, she has been practicing music hard and soon reached the level of being able to perform on stage. Mizuki brought Kato to the venue, where Ako was going to perform. She told Kato, tomorrow is Ako's performance. She is much younger than me, but stronger than me. That's why you insisted on taking a leave. Yes, so tomorrow's training mission is up to you. No problem. Kato raised the flag generously. It's just one day, nothing will happen. It's even more impossible for it to be such a coincidence that an accident would happen at the performance venue. Yes. Just then, the team voice in the Dash Alpha, the car usually used for work, sounded. I'm Kato. What? An unknown object fell. Where did it fall? Near here? Oh my god. Your son's father will die if he doesn't make trouble, right? Constantine was so angry that he cursed. For him, there were few things that could make him react like this. He was heartless and was already dying. Although he knew that he could extend his life by stopping Mammon from coming, the operation was too dangerous. If he was not careful, he would die, and the world might also die. In this environment, it was difficult for Constantine to be affected by others' emotions. But this girl was different. Akko reminded Constantine of his childhood. At that time, although he and Akko did not experience the same thing, it was equally unacceptable. The difference was that he could not hold on and committed suicide. But Akko not only held on, but also moved towards a new life. Just when everything was about to get better, a fate or god, or some other bastard was going to take action against this girl again. Nothing will happen. Impossible. He knows the routines of the cinema too well. It's okay, it's just the venue that was destroyed. Peter breathed a sigh of relief, at least, as he and the others should be fine. Boy, do you know what the last straw that broke the camel's back is? Constantine retorted mercilessly. Do you really think that after Azzy lost her eyesight, her heart was really as relaxed as she acted? No. Many times, people who seem to be fine at ordinary times will completely explode under the pressure of the last seemingly insignificant thing. What's even more fucked up is that others can't understand you. They will only think that your outburst is making a fuss over nothing. Because in their opinion, this matter is simply a trivial matter. People can't understand each other. Peter wanted to refute something, but Constantine stopped him directly. Boy, do you think I'm exaggerating? Don't forget, you were chosen by Ultraman. You have friends, family, and lover, but I have nothing. Except for a lung that can take my life at any time. There is also a Hell Lord squatting in hell, who wants my soul all the time. And all the demons in hell. Video continues. After arriving, the falling object turned out to be a white sphere. This thing looks a bit like a slime, but at least slime can move, but it has no biological reaction, just like a stone. Kato also poked it with a stick, but nothing happened. Dash received the information sent back by Kato, and after repeated analysis, it concluded that this thing is really just a non-living thing similar to a stone. This thing doesn't seem to pose any threat. Safety first, burn it. With the order of Captain Hijikata, Dash Asuka 1 and Dash Asuka 2 were dispatched together, carrying incendiary bombs, and flew above the white ball. One by one, the incendiary bombs fell, and the flames were like flowers blooming, exploding on this white ball. The high temperature distorted the surrounding air, and a certain range centered on the white ball turned into a sea of fire of death. But the flames went out, and the white ball really disappeared, followed by a black and purple ball with twisted and hideous thorns. Humanity has successfully opened the door to destruction. Complete life form, Leafrot, if activated. Chapter 287 Leafrot version 2.5. Activate. Loki Odinson. Interesting. That monster called Leafrot. Could it be a weapon of some aliens, which will be activated when it encounters high temperature or a certain degree of attack? Logan. Are you aliens crazy? The universe is so big. Why do you have to run to Earth? Strange. It can only be attributed to the fact that Earth is special. I read in an ancient book in Kamatage that is so old that it doesn't seem to be a product of Earth. That the birth of Earth is not ordinary, and it seems that there is the participation of the gods of the universe. Wanda, I'm glad to see you speak, Dr. Logan. Yes, Strange and his assistant didn't talk much today, Tony Stark. So, Leafrot is an alien invasion weapon. The white ball before was the first form, and this is the second form. Guang. No. Leafrot, a complete life form. A complete life form? I remember seeing this name in the database of the Kingdom of Light. Ace, we have found it. It is a complete life form. We have no way of knowing their birth, their composition, or even whether they have any tribes. Ace, the only thing we can be sure of is that it is invincible. Diana Prince, invincible? Diana Prince, even gods dare not claim to be absolutely invincible. Loki Odinson, humph. Give me some more time, and I will be invincible in the world. Diana Prince, it seems that you are very confident in your strength. Loki Odinson, that's right. I'm Loki, the second prince of Asgard, the legitimate king of Jotunheim. The trick starts to sing. Wanda, Sister Diana, don't listen to his nonsense. He is a wimp. The strong ones are all his isotopes. Loki Odinson, how can you slander someone's innocence out of thin air? Tony Stark, what innocence? We all saw that the powerful one was old Loki while you were caught by Hulk and hung up and beaten. Loki's face turned red when he heard this, and the veins on his forehead burst out. He argued, Loki Odinson, tactics, can tactics be considered as being beaten? No, this is a strategic retreat. Then there were some difficult words, such as the glory of God, the wisdom of the god of trickery, etc., which made everyone laugh, and the cinema was filled with a happy atmosphere. The video continues. After being burned by the flames, the leaf rot not only became extremely hideous, but also evolved the ability to breathe fire. From the thorny branches, a flaming meteor that was even hotter, larger in size, and faster in speed, flew towards Bad 1. To be honest, the pilot's technical level is quite good, worthy of being an elite team. Ascendant 1 tried its best to get rid of the flame attack, while Ascendant 2, under the control of SYN, launched an airborne missile at Yifu. Let's not talk about the power of the missiles. Anyway, after knocking Yifu down, it only made Yifu pause for a while. Then, the place where Yifu was hit by the missile evolved into a long metal tube, and missiles were launched from the metal tube. No more, no less, a few hits, and a few returned, exactly the same number. So this is a reason for being invincible? Peter suddenly seemed to have an epiphany, and quickly told Yifu's situation. Yifu will return the attack. It cannot be destroyed or killed. No matter how you hit it, it will return it to you intact. Ace, no wonder, in the records of the Kingdom of Light, the records of perfect life forms are unmatched. Tony Stark, unbeatable because of insufficient strength. Even if it can be restored after being broken, it will have a limit to its restoration. As long as it reaches this limit, it can still kill the leaf rot. Bruce Wayne, yes, since the screening room will show this video, I think someone must have solved the leaf rot in the end. We can learn from their methods to prevent the arrival of leaf rot. Bruce Wayne, however, is a bit impulsive. Bruce Wayne, although the place where the leaf rot descended is the city center, they must quickly solve the leaf rot to protect the safety of the citizens, but the rough use of fire is even too impulsive. What if the leaf rot explodes? Captain America, it is right to evacuate the citizens first, and then consider dealing with the leaf rot. The more they attack, the more missile metal tubes grow on the leaf rot. Seeing that there is no hope of a head-on confrontation, several team members can only drive Bad number 1 and number 2 to carry out kite flying tactics. However, the evolutionary ability of the leaf rot exceeded their expectations. After a vibration, the leaf rot not only grew a head, but also limbs. The two eyes, one large and one small, on the head of the leaf rot also revealed red light. The leaf rot, which was originally just a firepower turret, finally evolved to the level of a tank. This state of the leaf rot can be called the leaf rot version 2.5. The 2.5 version of the leaf rot usually moves in the city, generally releasing a large amount of flames and missiles to attack all objects around. Whether it is a living thing or a building, whether it is alive or dead, it is within the attack range of the leaf rot. It seems that he has no consciousness and thinking at all, only a simple destructive instinct. In the Dash base, the artificial intelligence robot, Ellie, discovered the problem. As long as it is attacked, it will transform, or evolve. Burn it with fire, it will evolve the ability to spit fire, use missiles to attack, and it will also evolve the ability to launch missiles. Captain Hijikata realized that he inadvertently opened a flash of the door to destruction. That is to say, it becomes stronger when facing a stronger opponent. It may even become stronger. The Dash combatants on the front line were still attacking. Seeing this, Captain Hijikata knew that they had to stop the attack, otherwise, a giant beast that would destroy the world would soon appear. Although, it's almost the same now. With confusion in their hearts, the team members drove the Dashbirds 1 and 2 away from the battlefield quickly. Yifu moved. It was an unconscious white ball, but humans taught it one thing, that is, destruction. Now, it's time to give back to humans what humans have taught it. Flames and missiles were flying, and the city was constantly being destroyed. On the way forward for Yifu, there was a building. That is the venue for Yaz's performance tomorrow. So, I have always insisted on the theory that God is a bastard. Constantine said with a gloomy face. He didn't even give a little girl her last hope. Is this God's love for the world? Bullshit. The author who types in class is not a scumbag. Chapter 288 The current situation of the demons. Wanda, I don't think so. At least, Ultraman Maximum will stop Leafrot. Besides, I'm also curious whether my chaos magic can defeat Leafrot. Tony Stark, it should be possible. Chaos magic can modify reality. Just turn Leafrot into a stone that poses no threat. Thanos, what will you do if Leafrot gains the power of chaos in turn? Bruce Wayne, a complete life form, is it really perfect, without any flaws? Ace, Leafrot has no consciousness. It will respond to you in the same way as you attack it. Ace, Leafrot is actually a mirror. Bruce Wayne, so, you have to defeat yourself in the mirror? Holy Lord, if defeating it doesn't work, then how about sealing or exiling it? Demon Hell. Holy Lord's current state is much better than before. At least the dragon soul is no longer the original translucent color, and it looks like it has some texture. The other demons were surrounding the Holy Lord and watching the live broadcast. DKUI and Zangsu were chewing on some unknown limbs of creatures. When the muscle tissue was eaten up, there was no bone left, so they just threw it into their mouths and chewed it raw. The 7 demons who once lived a life of luxury, probably their food was mostly meat and insects, have now fallen to the point of eating raw meat and drinking blood. But for the 7 demons who have been locked up for who knows how many years, and whose mouths have become dull, this is simply a delicacy. Their power comes from the power of authority given by the world. Now that hell is closed, they can only wait for death without being replenished from the outside world, but now they have other ways to replenish. The gate to another world. After the gate to another world becomes permanent, a batch of creatures from another world will be transmitted every day, but no matter what these things are, they will eventually enter the stomachs of the 7 demons. After entering the stomach, the original authority in their bodies will refine them. Although it is better than nothing, there is finally a hope for the future. The 7 demons could not care about so much. The most important thing was to survive. Okay, I've sent Bogang to a very far place. Even if she comes straight here, she can't come every 5, 6, 7, or 8 days. Zimu flew back with an unhappy look on his face. The gates to the other world only send so much food every day. Bogang has such a big appetite and goes crazy when he sees food. After their vote, they unanimously decided to kick Bogang out. No. Who is Bogang? Not familiar. Here comes the food. The gates to the other world was fixed in the void. Whenever a creature from another world entered, the gate would be opened, and then creatures from another world would come out. Of course, for the 7 demons, this was all food. Zangsu's eyes lit up, and he flew directly towards the gates to the other world. Basha followed closely behind him, and Dicky followed him when he saw this. According to their agreement, the one who hunts can get the lion's share. If he catches the prey alone, he can enjoy 2/3 of the prey. Zangsu and Basha rushed to go hunting. In their opinion, eating first and preserving their strength can better maintain their own strength. In the long run, it will definitely defeat Zilan and gain the right to speak among the demons. In the eyes of several other demons, this approach is a bit stupid. You work, I get it for free, and you are still happy. But, you are so smart. Zilan stared at the screen intently. Compared with the other brothers and sisters who have become brain dead, or are running all the way to the direction of brain dead, Zilan knows better that the screening room is a real treasure. Even closing the door to the other world cannot give up the screening room. Moreover, Zilan is also very curious about how this group of humans can solve this monster called a complete life form. In his and the Holy Lord's opinion, since they can't beat it, then finding a way to seal or exile it is the best choice. Can't I hide if I can't beat it? Strange. Exile or seal it? Strange. In the library of Kamataj, there are indeed records about exile magic. Strange. When facing some powerful and difficult enemies, ancient magicians developed the art of banishment, throwing their enemies into a world they themselves did not know. Strange. However, this kind of magic is difficult to perform. Holy Lord, yes, whether it is banishment or sealing, there are very complicated preparation processes, and that human does not look like he knows magic. The video continues. We must lead it away. Rooksy drove the Dash Alpha. holding the dash laser gun, and fired a laser at Yifu. The laser flew past Yifu and did not attract Yifu's attention at all. Rooks's plan to attract Yifu to change direction in this way was completely unworkable. Asshole. Rooksy gritted her teeth and shot at Yifu's head. I must protect this venue. I have promised Azzy that I have even bought flowers for Azzy. I must personally hand the flowers to her. Rooks's attack worked. Yifu is like this. He will only react when others attack him. All his reactions are formed by external influences. Humans want to destroy him with fire, so he learned fire and destruction. They want to attack and kill him with missiles, so Yifu learned missile attacks and attacks, as well as movement. When Rooks's attack fell on Yifu, Yifu successfully learned laser attacks. The power is exactly the same. The laser shot from Yifu's eyes is exactly the same as the laser fired by the dash laser gun. When it hits the dash alpha, it can only emit black smoke. However, under continuous and stable output, it is difficult for the alpha to withstand such laser attacks, not to mention that Rooksy in the car will be in danger of life if she is hit by a laser. Yifu attacked Rooksy, and at this moment, Kato could not help it. He quickly ran towards Rooksy, holding the maximum transformer, maximum galaxy, and quickly made a transformation move, pressing the maximum spark on his left arm, and the maximum spark burst into a dazzling brilliance. Maximum. Just when the alpha was about to be blown up by the continuous damage, a huge palm blocked the attack for it. The fastest and strongest maximum. After maximum blocked the attack, he quickly jumped in front of Yifu and took a fighting stance. Maximum Ultraman. Protect that venue, please. Maximum nodded, and the next second, the battle between the fastest and strongest Maximum and the perfect life form Yifu officially began. Eat, and continue typing after dinner. Chapter 289 Leafrot 3.0. The battle begins. Maximum wants to take Yifu away from the battlefield, at least away from the venue of Yaz's performance. But Yifu will give corresponding feedback for all contacts. No matter how many meters Maximum pushes out, Yifu will push back intact. Maximum immediately realizes that he has no chance of winning against Yifu, because the opponent is definitely stronger than him. Not only did Yifu push him back intact, but Maximum was also pushed back by inertia. After discovering this, and torturing the road maintenance personnel, Maximum first distanced himself from Yifu, and then tried to deal with it. At this moment, Yifu showed the attribute he learned from humans, attack. Yifu began to attack Maximum. Unlike the previous passive counterattacks, this time Yifu took the initiative to attack for the first time. A huge laser shot towards Maximum, and Maximum quickly set up a vortex-shaped platinum shield. Spark shield. Maximum uses the energy from Maximum Spark to form an energy shield. After Maximum blocked the eye laser fired by Yifu, he looked up and found several missiles. Maximum rolled and quickly distanced himself from the performance venue. He and Kato promised Rooksy that they must protect the venue where Akko performed. That girl should not be tortured by this fucking fate. Maximum changed his position to ensure that his attack and Yifu's counterattack would not affect the venue. He raised his left arm and Maximum Spark lit up with dazzling brilliance. While gathering the light, his arms formed an inverted L shape, and the colorful brilliance emitted from his left arm. Maximum Hum Cannon. Maximum Ultraman's strongest skill. It has the power to turn the enemy into light particles. The colorful Maximum Hum Cannon hit Yifu. Did it succeed? After being hit by the Maxium Cannon, Yifu struggled for only 2 seconds before he stopped moving. He was then blown to pieces, with his body flying all over the sky. Success. Seeing the arrogant Yifu being killed, everyone in the theater breathed a sigh of relief. The title of a perfect life form is completely exaggerated, and it is said to be unmatched. As long as the power is large enough, it can completely kill the opponent. Tony regained his confident expression. It's just a monster with strong recovery and evolution capabilities. Since that Maximum Ultraman can blow it up, I can do it too. Don't be happy too soon. Bruce Wayne said. According to the usual style of the theater, this matter is definitely not that simple. Didn't the previous Keelan Star Beast also resurrect again after being killed? Watch a world. Dr. Manhattan's eyes revealed a trace of disappointment. He initially thought that the so-called perfect life form was a quantum body like him, and was quite interested, but now it seems that he seems to have too high expectations for it. However, it was not a loss, at least it made him feel disappointed. Dr. Manhattan did not include the ability of the Leafrot in his research plan, because this ability was too ordinary for it. It was more interesting to reduce and upgrade dimensions. Behind him, a stone was being tortured madly. But at this moment, the doctor showed an ecstatic look on his face. Interesting, I guessed wrong again. It's so interesting. The video continues. RUIZ's original surprise turned into horror, and the blown Leafrot was resurrected, as if time was reversed. Moreover, this time the Leafrot evolved again. This is a complete monster. Golden, like a bronze body, red round pupils, hiding endless desires for destruction. The Leafrot changed from a reptile at the beginning to a self-supporting humanoid creature, and his right hand turned into a bronze longsword. However, the Leafrot that evolved into a human form did not obtain human thinking, but the concept of destruction and destruction given to it by humans was inherited without any reduction, and even surpassed the master. This time, Leafrot really evolved into a world-destroying weapon. Tony, who was slapped in the face, looked very ugly. Can it be resurrected after being blown up? Jonathan Osterman, Drive Manhattan, can it be restored at the particle level, or can it be stronger? Guang, according to the records of the Kingdom of Light, we can even infer that perhaps Leafrot is truly indestructible. Strange, I remember you once said that absoluteness is a false proposition. Guang, the technology of our Kingdom of Light is also developing. It is normal to have mistakes, not to mention facing a perfect life form that is said to be unmatched. Peter Parker, then, is there no way to defeat Leafrot? Guang, Maximum's Maxium Cannon is not bad, but it is impossible to defeat Leafrot even with this, and Leafrot copied his own Maxium Cannon. Guang, I think Leafrot cannot be defeated. The video continues just when Maximum was shocked. Leafrot made an incredible move. Yifu raised his right hand, which had turned into a long sword, and placed his left hand on it, also forming an Ella layer of red light shone on the blade of the long sword, as if hinting at Yifu's intention of destruction. A larger, faster and more powerful Maxium cannon was fired at Maximum. Maximum, who had just launched a big move, and consumed a lot of energy, and was shocked by Yifu's situation, failed to successfully dodge Yifu's attack, and was knocked away on the spot by his famous Maxium cannon. What Maximum did to Yifu will now return to him. It's not a good feeling to be hit by your own big move, especially since Maxium cannon is a powerful light skill. Thanks to Maximum's strong foundation, he barely managed to hold on. But even so, Maximum was still hit into a red light by one move. The energy indicator on Maximum's chest kept flashing. Maximum can only move on the earth for 1 minute now. Seeing this, Maximum decided to make a quick decision. Since light doesn't work, then use fists and feet. But no matter how Maximum attacks the Leafrot will be returned intact. This is true for light, and it also works for fists and feet. How Maximum hits it, it will hit Maximum the same way. It's exactly an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Next Saturday, I have to take the teacher qualification exam, so I'll take a leave in advance. Chapter 290, Apocalypse Night, Judgment Day. Yifu's counterattack was still the same as before. After Maximum finished hitting it, it would return to Maximum. The energy indicator light on Maximum's chest flashed faster. Seeing this, Maximum threw out his head dart. Maximum's sword. Maximum's head dart spun and slashed on Yifu's left and right arms, successfully causing damage to Yifu. Then, something even more desperate happened. Yifu grew weapons again. This time, it was head darts. And, there were exactly 2 of them. The bronze head darts rushed towards Maximum. As an extremely excellent warrior, Maximum's combat awareness was naturally top-notch, so he opened the Maximum barrier at the last moment. The golden light curtain of Maximum's barrier only blocked some of the impact of Yifu's head darts in front of it, and was removed by Maximum. The power was exactly the same as the one thrown by Maximum. Maximum said that he had fought for so many years, and had seen all kinds of monsters and aliens, but he had never seen a Yifu like this. After barely blocking the attack of the double Maximum head darts copied by Yifu, Maximum quickly opened the spark shield. Just as Maximum opened the shield, a ray like a rainbow hit Maximum again. It's still the Maxium cannon. If Maximum hadn't opened the shield in time, he would have been hit by an attack with the same power as the Maxium cannon, and the consequences would have been disastrous. In just a dozen seconds of fighting, Yifu fired 2 Maxium cannons. This is a super skill that even Maximum can't use continuously. This monster, doesn't it have energy consumption? Tony asked puzzledly. According to some information given by the screening room, even an elite warrior like Maximum with extremely sufficient energy can only use the Maxium cannon once in a short period of time. How abundant is Yifu's energy? Jonathan Osterman, Drive Manhattan. Maybe this creature called Yifu has the ability to draw energy from the quantum void. In this case, its energy can be said to be infinite. Jonathan Osterman, Drive Manhattan. Or, it can create something out of nothing. Break the law of conservation of energy. Dr. Manhattan is getting more and more curious about Leafrot. As a researcher and a god on Earth, who basically has no human emotions, the only emotion that Dr. Manhattan can call human, before he met the projection room is his exploration of physics. Now, the existence of a creature like Leafrot makes him want to let go of his mind more thoroughly. Anyway, he can't see it. Why not guess more outrageously? Right. Very happy. Wrong. Even happier. Dr. Manhattan has been deeply fascinated by this unknown. Tony Stark. Creating something out of nothing. Creating something out of nothing. This is not scientific. Jonathan Osterman, Drive Manhattan. Maybe, it's just because our science is too shallow, so we think it's not scientific. After knowing the projection room, Dr. Manhattan naturally understands that he can predict the future in this universe, travel through time, transmit consciousness across timelines, and create things out of nothing. These are all small tricks. The universe is so big, and there are so many things that I don't understand. My power is just a drop in the ocean in front of the infinite multiplicity. Even in my own universe, I can't be called omnipotent, because I can't even pass through a crystal wall system. In Dr. Manhattan's opinion, there are still many things he needs to learn. Jonathan Osterman, Drive Manhattan. I can create things out of thin air in my own world, but I don't know if I can do it in other worlds. But since I can, then the existence of other worlds must be able to create things out of thin air. Peter Parker, Dr. Jonathan, are you kidding? We believe that you have the ability to manipulate elementary particles, but creating things out of thin air is still a bit too incredible. Jonathan Osterman, Drive Manhattan. I lost most of my emotions after my body was atomized. Generally speaking, I don't joke, so I'm serious. Guang, can I create things out of thin air, but can't break through the crystal wall system of your world? Jonathan Osterman, Drive Manhattan. Yes, I can't break through the crystal wall system of my world and reach other universes. Bruce Wayne, actually, you'd better not break through. The video continues. Maximum was ultimately unable to defeat Yifu's enhanced Maxium cannon. After holding on for more than 10 seconds, he finally couldn't withstand Maxium cannon's attack and was knocked out. Ultraman Maximum, run away. Rooks's voice came, and Maximum turned his head and saw that Rooksy was waving at him. Run away. Running away is the best option. There's no time. Maximum's chest rose and fell violently, and the energy indicator on his chest flashed red, telling Maximum that there was no time, and the ticking alarm sounded like the horn of death at this moment. The rapid sound was like the alarm bell before the arrival of the world-destroying disaster, which gradually made people despair. The battle of less than 3 minutes consumed a lot of his physical strength and energy, but more seriously, Maximum's worldview was severely shocked. What kind of monster is this? Maximum clenched his fist unwillingly. He knew how to advance and retreat, and he also knew that, if he stayed here, he would only be defeated by Yifu or even beaten to death. So Maximum flew away without hesitation. He couldn't beat him. He really couldn't beat him. Maximum Ultraman, the fastest and strongest Ultraman, helped the Earth survive many dangers. No matter how powerful the enemy was, it was not Maximum's opponent. But today, such a god of war was forced to flee the battlefield by a monster. Yifu didn't chase him, maybe because he couldn't fly, or maybe because humans didn't teach him the skills to chase the enemy. And the next second after Maximum flew away, Yifu rushed to the venue. The huge bronze longsword was like an executioner's beheading sword. While splitting the venue, it also cut off Akko's hopes and dreams. Under Yifu's destruction, the venue was completely turned into ruins. Yifu roared and walked towards the city in the distance. The city was engulfed in flames. A demon god of destruction awakened by humans themselves, like the four horsemen of the apocalypse, blew the trumpet of the last judgment for the humans on this land. The land was being destroyed. People were fleeing everywhere, and countless people's homes were destroyed, but humans had no power to fight back against the demon god of destruction that destroyed everything. Yifu was using the abilities he had used to attack him to destroy the city. Flames, missiles, lasers, Maximum's Maxium cannon. These powers that were supposed to be used to protect humans have now become the death sickle of the god of death. No matter how powerful the weapons humans use to attack Yifu, no matter how much power humans use to deal with Yifu, Yifu will copy them exactly, and then return them to humans intact or even more severely. At this time, who still remembers that Yifu was once just a white ball with no power, and no threat at all? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291, Charles's Enlightenment. Yes, at first, the leaf rod was just a white ball without any life reaction. Peter said, if it had not been burned by the flame, the leaf rod would probably have stayed there like a stone, and the human attack awakened it. This time it can be said that humans asked for it. I think the story of the leaf rod in the theater should be connected to the previous super weapon R1. Super weapon R1 tells the story of military competition in the dark forest, and the leaf rod is saying, violence will only lead to greater violence. Peter, at WANDA, I think your previous suggestion of using violence to deal with violence is not right. Although violence is quick, it will only lead to greater violence and unnecessary harm. Wanda, maybe you are right, but I don't think violence is better than love to deal with that kind of evil. Wanda, although love can save the world, then I don't need to burn our world's Thanos into atoms. Thanos. Compared to love, which is something illusory, I insist that sufficient power is needed to maintain a good order. Thanos. People's hearts are dark. Without enough power, the darkness in people's hearts will only grow. If you face a group of vicious criminals, do you think so-called love can influence them? Peter Parker, I admit that it can't. Thanos. Then why do you insist on love instead of using more effective violence? Your justice cannot save the evil, and it may even make them more wanton. Bruce Wayne, I support Peter. Power is just our tool. We must not be dominated by the pleasure brought by power. We are human beings, not beasts. Logan, by the way, can we neutralize it and use violence to promote love? Bruce Wayne, there is a saying in the East called in a saint and out a king, which means that on the one hand, you have the talents and virtues of a saint, and on the other hand, you can practice the kingly way. Bruce Wayne, it is very appropriate to bring this sentence here. Bruce Wayne, we can't go to extremes. Extreme violence will create a high pressure world, while extreme love will make people reckless. Only by combining love with power can we find the right path. Bruce Wayne, use power to make the evil people alert and fearful, and then tell them what is right. Peter Parker, yes, this is the right path. X-Men universe. Logan smiled slightly, hiding his achievements and fame. What, the world's richest man, the giant of light, the Scarlet Witch, the overlord of the universe? In the end, it still depends on him, the old wolf Logan, to wake up. I'm so arrogant that I'd put my hands on my waist. Charles on the side fell into thinking. Be a king outside and a saint inside. You must have both power and love. Is this the right path? Originally, after watching Yifu's video, Charles planned to use this to warn Magneto. You see, I have said that blind violence can only be exchanged for greater violence. Your path is wrong. You should just follow me, my brother. But now that Logan has reminded him Charles is also thinking about whether his excess of gentleness is right or not. Charles and Magneto have been arguing about how to fight for mutant rights. Charles advocates that differences should be resolved through communication and dialogue so that mutants and ordinary people can truly live in peace. Magneto advocates solving problems through violence because he was once hurt by D-San, and his mother was shot and killed by D-San's officers and shot and killed in front of him, so he tried to dominate humans, believing that humans are outdated and unqualified to rule the world, and he wants to lead mutants to sever their ties with humans. In any case, violence can only lead to greater violence. Charles took out a stack of white paper and began to write on it. Humans' violence against mutants is due to prejudice and fear, perhaps because mutants hurt humans first, or perhaps because humans hurt mutants first. In short, someone on both sides must have started this. Afterwards, the harm suffered by one side was added back to the other side, but some people who did not hurt the other side were also hurt. So in the mutual harm, radical element on both sides were born. They all believed that only by destroying the other side could they be safe. But in the mutual harm, there is no winner at all. But in the mutual harm was born, violence was born, and fear was nurtured. This is a completely vicious cycle. And if you want all this to stop, someone must interrupt this cycle. After a brief thought, Charles continued to write, I hope I'm right. Maybe people can use the law of external king and internal saint between each other, but mutants and humans have been hurting each other for a long time. The vicious cycle has started, and the two sides have begun to have a gap. If violence is used, it will only make everything out of control. Don't use violence unless it is absolutely necessary. Love is a very empty topic, but love can really change a lot. Although there is harm and gap between humans and mutants now, it is really a sign. As long as both sides work together, this sign is like a flame and can be easily extinguished. But once this little flame is ignited and becomes an uncontrollable fire, then everything will be too late. Charles quickly wrote something down. He planned to wait for Eric to come back and have a good chat with him about this issue. Logan, what's the situation now? Situation? Logan took a sip of wine, smacked his lips and said, Loki had another argument with everyone in the screening room and was counterattacked. As for the video, that Yifu was tired and fell asleep. Falling asleep? Yeah, he slept very soundly. I still think it's more interesting to watch Loki being counterattacked. The video continues. Yifu's demon-like figure, coupled with the terrifying roar, the background of the destroyed city, the endless sea of fire, and the cries of the people, created a doomsday-like world. Captain Hijikata sat on the dashboard, looking at Yifu destroying the city below, and a sense of powerlessness arose in his heart. They can't do anything now. Ultraman Maximum was defeated. The previous practice also proved that the more they attacked Yifu, the worse the result would be. They were now in the sky watching Yifu destroy the city. They had no choice but to watch. They could do nothing. At this moment, the voice of Captain Hijikata slowly sounded. Chapter 292 Miracle Revelation. We have opened a seal that must not be opened, using all the weapons in the world to attack that guy at the same time. In the end, only a monster that can fight back will be born. And in the beginning, it was just a white sphere. Captain Hijikata's words were full of sadness. On the other side of the city, Roxy and Kato came to an apartment. At this moment, the sky was dark. The city no longer had the hustle and bustle of the past, the bustling crowds, and the bright lights and wine. The endless silence seemed to foreshadow the future of this planet. That is, everything will be destroyed. This place is lucky, because Yifu has not brought destruction and death here. The residents around have evacuated one after another. This place is not safe. Or, before Yifu leaves this planet, there is no safe place on this planet. Roxy came to the door of Akko's room. She called Akko's name. She wanted to take Akko away from this place that could be destroyed by Yifu at any time. Akko hugged her beloved recorder and curled up under the table in the room. Hearing Roxy's cry, Yazzie did not open the door, but asked in confusion, Why don't you let me learn painting and music? Why all the bad luck falls on my head? Yazzie said these words in a trembling voice, and everyone's heart trembled with every word she said. Constantine was right, alright. Just as Constantine said before, the damp fate still did not give up torturing Yazzie. First, it cruelly took away Yazzie's eyes. When the strong Yazzie chose to continue to realize her musical dream and continue to live a strong life, the leaves fell from the sky and destroyed Yazzie's dream. A girl who was not even 10 years old first lost her eyes. She could no longer see this colorful and beautiful world. When this girl finally saw a glimmer of hope for life, fate cruelly shattered her hope again. Yazzie finally collapsed. This girl who was stronger than ordinary adults could not accept such a reality. Hearing Yazzie's collapse and questioning, everyone was speechless. This reminded them of Jamila, the Keelan Star Beast, and the non-Gmad people. I'm afraid this is another tragedy. Violence will only beget violence, and we have learned this lesson. So, can you give this girl a happy ending? Even if you want to teach us a lesson, you don't have to catch a girl and torture her. Image continues. Roxy said to Echo outside the door, "Don't give up. Everything will be fine. This is what you taught me, Echo." Roxy's words did not comfort Echo, but she was speechless by Echo's question. Even Maximum Ultraman can't do it, so Dash can't do anything either. The sharp child's voice was extremely piercing, and endless despair surged in his heart. Yes, let alone Dash. Even Maximum Ultraman couldn't do anything at this moment, and could only run away in a panic. At this time, what hope is there? Everything is over. After a moment of silence, Roxy took a deep breath and forced a smile. She continued to say to Ayako in the house, "Anyway, we have to escape now no matter what." Ayako? Ayako? There was no more sound from Ayako in the house. Roxy took out the Dash laser gun and opened the door lock with one shot. At this moment, where was Ayako in the house? Outside, Yifu was still destroying. With his hideous body in the endless sea of fire, Yifu at this moment was like a world-destroying demon walking out of the bottom of the endless abyss. But Yifu was not a demon. Just as Captain Hijikata said, at the beginning, Yifu was just a white ball without any threat, nothing more. In the endless sea of fire, Ayako walked barefoot on the hot sand and gravel, as if she was looking for something. Ayako cried as she walked, and the roar of Yifu in the distance was very similar to Ayako's cry. One was a blind girl who had lost her sight, and the other was a terrifying existence that was like a demon god that destroyed the world. At this moment, the sounds from both sides actually formed a strange resonance, as if they were grieving for the same reason. Finally, after an unknown amount of time, Yifu returned to peace. Is it tired? Does it have no energy? Perhaps it vented its anger and returned to peace, just like it had just landed on the earth. Yifu returned to the starting point, the venue where Yazzie was about to perform. He closed his eyes and fell asleep here. When no one attacked him and released malice, Yifu no longer released attacks around him. Just like the beginning. Perhaps this fucking thing called fate finally dug out its long-sealed conscience from that corner. Yazzie, who had disappeared for a long time and walked barefoot in the fire for a long time, actually appeared in front of Yifu with a recorder in his hand. In the Dash base on the other side, everyone's heart seemed to be covered by a heavy cloud. What's the situation with Yifu? He stopped where he was and seemed to be asleep. After hearing Ella's report, Captain Hijikata was finally able to take a breath. Although he still couldn't send this evil god away, at least he could give them some buffer time to prepare. Okay, you two should go to bed too. It's time to change shifts. How can you sleep at this time? I want to stick to this, even if I can't do anything. Scene also came over and said, the captain is in the same mood. The third planet in the solar system. Captain Hijikata muttered to himself, this planet will soon be extinct, but there are still many important people on this planet. On the other side, Yifu stayed quietly in the ruins of the concert venue. The surroundings were extremely quiet, and so was Yifu, just like when it had just arrived, except that the white ball that was once as white as paper had turned into an extremely hideous monster. Fortunately, it stopped, and Yazzie, holding a recorder, walked to Yifu's side. Perhaps there was a mysterious existence guiding Yazzie, or perhaps it was just a miracle. Yazzie walked out of the sea of fire and came to the venue and to Yifu's side despite being blind. Yazzie couldn't see, but she could feel that Yifu was in front of her. With a sad face, Yazzie held a recorder in her hand and asked Yifu a question. Chapter 293 Leaf Rot 4.0 Mr. Monster, you are here. As his trembling voice was filled with too many emotions, fear, unwillingness, and despair, she risked her life and came to this opened Pandora's box just to seek an answer to the cruel fate. Yifu heard Yaz's call and slowly raised his head. Mr. Monster hates music? I like music the most. Yazzie played the flute, which was Chopin's farewell song. The music was melodious, and Yifu slowly opened his eyes. This time, it did not attack, but quietly listened to the music played by Yazzie. In the silent city, the dilapidated ruins, and the doomsday scene, a world-destroying Pandora's box became the only listener for this strong girl. I suggest you read the original work, starting at 1810 and the 15th episode of Maximum on the small broken station, next to the green crescent moon, a star lit up. Just like Yazzie beside Yifu, the stars are tiny, but they emit a more dazzling brilliance than the green crescent moon. Yifu moved, and the moment his huge body moved, the earth shook. The sound of the flute played by Yazzie had not stopped, and Ruxi, at this time, happened to drive to this place. Yifu opened his eyes, but this time, the scarlet eyes that were once filled with destruction and death were no longer scarlet, but light yellow. Yifu howled to the sky, spread his arms, and 6 straight metal tubes grew out of his body, but this time the metal tubes that grew out were not the missile launchers that once brought destruction and death, but pipe organs. Yazzie cried. She heard Yifu's roar to the sky. She thought death was about to come, but it didn't. Hearing the melodious piano sound, Yazzie was stunned. So, Mr. Monster, do you like music, too? Who would have thought that the super powerful monster that even Dash and Maximum Ultraman couldn't defeat was actually defeated by a little girl at this moment? Really? No, because Yifu didn't lose, but under the influence of Az's music, he responded to Az's music. Reply to good with good, and evil with evil. Just like copying Maximum Ultraman's full attack before, and then using Maximum Ultraman's attack to counterattack Maximum Ultraman, Yifu also responded to Az's music with music. At first, Yifu was still releasing noise, but soon, Yifu understood the true meaning of the music, and the instrument on his body was completely formed, playing a hymn to celebrate the continuation of this planet. Azzy and Yifu, two extreme individuals, are now linked together, just like their destiny. Always given pain by fate, but Yifu chose revenge, while Azzy continued to treat the world with tenderness. As Ruxi once said, although Akko is very small, she is the more powerful one. Ruxi felt Akko's side at this moment. The moment she saw Yifu, Ruxi instinctively raised the gun in her hand, and pointed it at Yifu, and tried to carry Akko away. In sharp contrast, Yifu slowly put down the long sword in his hand. The long sword in his hand that was used to launch the Maxium cannon and destroyed the venue that carried Akko's dream now turned into a trombone. The golden light emanating from Yifu became brighter and brighter. The ferocious blade, the copied Maximum head dart, and all the attack weapons at this moment turned into various kinds of music, organ, recorder, and pipe organ. The once ferocious head of Yifu turned into a statue of an angel. The world-destroying demon disappeared. After Pandora's box released all the disasters, the hope that the goddess of war Athena secretly hid in the box was finally released. Yazzie smiled. She had come to seek death, but she smiled happily after hearing the accompaniment played by Yifu. She had an audience, and this planet had gained hope. Two lives that were given endless malice by this fucked up world resonated at this moment, and they played their own hymns together. Yazzie blew the flute in her hand again. This time, she and Yifu were both performers and listeners. At this moment, they played the hymn of life together. A smile suddenly appeared on the angel statue transformed by Yifu. The angel smiled, and the light will shine on the world again. That's great. Ruiz stared blankly at the dash laser gun in her hand. She once said that their last resort was this gun, but now it seems that maybe the gun is not the last resort. In the melodious music, Maximum didn't know when he appeared here. This time, Maximum didn't attack, but raised his right index finger in front of his mouth. He was afraid of waking up Yifu, and even more afraid of breaking this beautiful side. Maximum quietly pointed to the Dash Alpha under his feet. Ruxi nodded in understanding, and took Yazzie on the car. Maximum gently picked up the Alpha, slowly stood up, and flew into the sky. Yifu continued to play the music, followed Maximum, followed Yazzie, and left the earth. Although Yifu turned into the fourth form, the sharp blade in his hand and the ferocious spikes on his body turned into various music, but the scars left by the previous battle with Maximum have never faded. Yes, although the war is over, the scars left will not be erased by time. Although Yifu is no longer the Demon King who brings destruction, no matter how he changes, he can never turn back to that simple white ball, just like a piece of paper can never be restored to its original appearance after being written on. Maximum guided Yifu away from the earth. In the eyes of Captain Hijikata and others who were riding on the Bird One, at this moment, it was like an angel guiding the suffering creatures to leave the sea of suffering and return to heaven. But the angel was not Maximum. Attack for attack, music for music. Repay malice with malice, and repay kindness with kindness. This world is so beautiful. This world was saved by a little girl. The haze in everyone's heart finally dissipated, and someone sighed, how great it would be if there was a day when Dash was truly disbanded. Yes, that's when true peace comes to Earth. With the help of Maximum, Yifu passed through the atmosphere and came to space, and in the distance, the Earth also welcomed the rising sun. This world has been reborn. This is a miracle of the third planet. The fastest and strongest Maximum, the miracle of the third planet, and the author's musical literacy is really not enough, and his knowledge of musical instruments is not even enough to recognize what is in Yifu's hand. I'm just an author. How can I have that kind of power? Chapter 294. Just like decades ago. It's over. The screening room was very quiet. After Yazzie walked in front of Yifu, no one in the entire screening room spoke. Everyone was shocked by all this. The screening room also felt the emotions of the crowd. After playing all this, nothing was played, just quietly waiting. Guang, Yifu, if. Hikari took a sip of the drink and said lightly, in my opinion, Yifu also represents different possibilities. If Dash had never burned it with fire, it would not have fought back with fire. If Dash had never attacked with lasers and missiles, it would not have fought back with lasers and missiles. If we had never defiled it, it would not have changed from that pure and flawless to that hideous and ugly. It was not wrong, but when it was attacked, it dragged its charred body to fight back, returning malice to it with malice. But when the attack reaches a certain limit, it will begin to arm itself with armor and tear apart everything that has hurt it. All people can pray for is to tire it out with time and wait for it to fall asleep peacefully under the bright moonlight. In the end, we will find that, as long as we treat it with beauty, it will wash away its ugliness and greet our infinite beauty with the most holy attitude. I think this is the real meaning of this screening room showing us this story. Peter Parker, yes, just like the Keelan Star Beast and the super weapon R1, they are all released with malice by humans, but compared to the Ultra God and Ultraman 7 who directly destroyed them, I think that perhaps Echo's approach is more worthy of our deep thought. Bruce Wayne, Yifu is like a mirror that responds to everything. In the screening room, everyone was thinking quietly. Outside the screening room, the miracle of the third planet also caused countless people to think deeply. Even Thanos and the 7 demons had some insights at this moment. Although they don't believe in love and kindness, and even if they do, they won't consider using them, this doesn't prevent them from thinking. Miracle of the third planet Easter egg. Maximum quietly pointed to the Dash Alpha under his feet. Roxy nodded in understanding and took Yazzie to the car. Maximum gently picked up the Alpha and his hand slipped. Maximum looked at the Alpha that fell to the ground with an embarrassed face, and outside the camera, Yifu's roar sounded again. Miracle of the third planet Easter egg, and what the hell is going on here? Peter said with a smile. What kind of Easter egg is a slip of the hand? That's not necessarily true, Peter. Strange said with a wry smile, just like what we said before, and the meaning of the name Yifu is if Maximum really slipped and dropped the car, what would happen in that world? The fastest and strongest Maximum no longer sniped street starts in 10 minutes. Everyone, eat and drink, go to the toilet, and get ready to leave no longer sniped street. Hiss. It's hard for everyone not to have this reaction. If the miracle of the third planet can be called a coincidence, then No Longer Sniped Street is clearly the sequel to Sniped Street. Then, according to the nature of the screening room, will it be a remake of The Messenger of Non-Gmalt later? Damn. Don't. Come again. Unfortunately, just like in the materialistic worldview, the changes of things cannot be affected by people's inner thoughts. No matter how much they disagree, it's useless. Besides, the theater has asked for their opinions. They chose to move forward bravely. They can't blame others. Loki Odinson, poor non-small people, or who knows who, are going to be harmed by you humans again. Tony Stark, if you want to make trouble, just say it. Ace, according to the development of the timeline, Maximum should be sent to Earth by us 20 years later. Guang, no, it was said at the beginning of the previous video that this Maximum is an Ultraman from another parallel universe, so this is a story of a parallel universe. Ace, where is Maximum in our world now? Ace, we are currently conducting planetary civilization observation activities, and we are considering whether to call him back. Guang, I think the most important thing now is to put the information about the complete life form Leafrot into the archives, and then compile this information into the textbooks of Ultra Primary School, to prevent the scene on Earth in that universe from appearing. Everyone was discussing, and on the Simmons mattress in the back, the river god stretched out, and turned over, and fell asleep again. Time is up. The fastest and strongest Maxes, not on the street being snipedstered. A burst of alarm bells rang, and several police cars flashed their lights, and came to a construction site. They just received a report that someone on the construction site had gone crazy, and was madly attacking everything around them. Sure enough. Bruce Wayne, I didn't expect that the methods of the Metrons were still the same from the 20th century to the 21st century. Demon hell. The 8 demons were extremely interested in this plant called Cosmic Poppy that could drive humans crazy. Zhang Su even asked the Holy Lord to find a way to get some back by name. Don't think about it. You haven't escaped yet, and you're thinking about revenge on humans? Zealand sneered coldly, it's not too late to consider these things after you escape. Zhang Su didn't say anything, but just gnawed his blood food silently. This time, their harvest was quite good. The quality was not to be mentioned, but at least the quantity was large enough. A group of alien creatures that were somewhat similar to mammoths rushed into the gate to the alien world, and then dozens of people in the family delivered express delivery. According to the rules of prey distribution, Zhang Su, Basher and Icky were all allocated more than 10 mammoths, which greatly replenished their blood food, compared to the previous situation, where 7 demons were allocated 1 goblin, and made up for their lost physical strength. Several demons with slightly better brains smiled, and got a few mammoths for free. MDZZ, working for free and still smiling so happily. Can this little blood food make up for the loss of their power? The video continues. A group of police surrounded him, and the crazy worker roared to the sky and slowly fell down. Just like decades ago, a bald detective walked in directly and began to check the situation, and the few people who were still sober provided information to the police. They are all workers inside. They are usually very honest people. I don't know what happened today. They suddenly became manic. After writing about the streets no longer being sniped, which episode do you want to see? Chapter 295, Big Pie Contest. Constantine, is it a cigarette again this time? Constantine looked at the cigarette in his hand, and his mouth twitched slightly. Then he smoked it without any psychological burden. Damn it, even if that old bastard of God comes, don't think of stopping me from smoking. Image continues. More and more people have fainted in the city recently. A new police officer came over and said to the bald detective, Mr. Mirazaki, please use your mobile phone. Mobile phone, so long-winded. The bald detective named Mirazaki said, I hate using that kind of troublesome thing. Bald detective Mirazaki picked up a broken mirror and observed it carefully. This was a mirror processing factory before. When the workers went crazy before, the crazy workers destroyed the products here. For detectives, giving up some details is a taboo. When Mirazaki picked up a mirror, he saw a mysterious man in black clothes and a black hat in the mirror. Just like in the past. It's really the Metron people. After so many years, they haven't even changed their appearance. But didn't the Metron people die in the fight with Ultraman 7? The Metron people are a tribe. All the life forms living on Metron can be planned into the concept of the Metron people, just like all the life on Earth can be planned into the concept of Earthlings. But there are so many creatures on Earth. There are also many creatures on Metron, but except for specialized scholars and the native creatures of Metron, who will care about this? On the street, a young man who looked about 20 years old was playing with his mobile phone with his head down, playing while walking, not afraid of being hit to death. Suddenly, a sharp monkey cry sounded, and the young man suddenly covered his forehead. At that moment, she felt dizzy, and at this moment, the whole picture turned grey. After the young man felt dizzy, he did not choose to stop to check his physical condition, but continued to play with his mobile phone and left. The picture remained grey and white. On a moving tram, young people were all looking down at their phones, and an old man next to a young man looked at the young woman next to him with helpless eyes, as if he was sighing silently. In the police station, the police were interrogating the crazy person before. "We really don't remember anything." Everyone being interrogated said the same thing. "It's really the same as when the street was sniped decades ago. It's just that this time, although the methods used by the Metrons are similar, the power of the attack seems to have been reduced a little." Strange said, "When the street was sniped before, the cosmic poppy used by the Metrons would cause great damage and impact on the human brain, but now after affecting the human brain through mobile phones, the sequelae seem to have been reduced a little." In the interrogation room, the police officer speculated whether this situation occurred because these people were under too much pressure. In response, Detective Narazuki took out a cigarette and pushed them away, saying that he would let the professionals come. In response, the police officer said, "Smoking is not allowed here." On the other side, the Dashfield duo Ruxy and Kato arrived as scheduled. When something like this happens, Dash must pay attention. Ruxy and Kato got the information that all the crazy people have no motive and have lost their memories. Captain Hijikata told the field duo the information he had found in the base. A similar situation happened in Kitakura district a few decades ago. Some people who smoke frequently attacked the people around them without warning. Cigarette? Kato touched his chin and suddenly saw the cigarette in Ruxy's mouth. "Want one?" Ruxy handed the cigarette to Kato. Kato pulled it out with an embarrassed look on his face and found that it was a cigarette-shaped candy. Ruxy laughed out loud, and even the cigarette candy in his mouth fell to the ground. In the corridor, Mizuki and Kato were discussing the relationship between the cigarettes from decades ago and the current incident, and they happened to run into Detective Narazuki, who was coming downstairs. "Don't use this thing in front of me," Narazuki shouted loudly. "I'm allergic to mobile phones." "This is not a mobile phone." Kato tried to explain to Narazuki the difference between Dash's communicator and a mobile phone, but this middle-aged uncle, who looked to be in his 40s, but was actually more stubborn than some old men in their 60s and 70s, didn't want to listen to their explanation. All the same, Narazuki wanted to leave, but when he saw the Dash uniforms on them, he couldn't help but asked, "Your mission is to repel monsters. Why are you here? To deal with human cases? This is not your responsibility." "Yes, but there are still many things in this world that cannot be explained by science. We can't confirm whether these things are related to aliens and monsters. Do you know what is more terrifying than monsters and aliens?" "What?" The picture suddenly became distorted at this moment, and Narazuki said word by word, "It's human." This Narazuki, is he an antisocial and anti-human personality? Bruce Wayne is also an excellent psychologist himself, probably. When he saw Narazuki's appearance and the man in black who appeared at the crime scene before the Alliance, which is the figure with the 99% chance of being the Metron, Bruce Wayne suddenly had an idea. Bruce Wayne, this Narazuki is very likely to be related to the Metron. Peter Parker, it is indeed possible. His disgust for human technology, the images shown in the screening room before, and the most important cigarette hint, that Narazuki may be a spy sent by the Metron, or a human who was turned against the world, or he may be transformed by the Metron. Loki Odinson, interesting. I thought you would help Narazuki. Peter Parker, I'm not stupid, and this is just a reasonable suspicion. Logan, this kid has made great progress and changes since entering the screening room. Loki Odinson, mortal, come and be the messenger of this god. Holy Lord, you are nothing. What can you give this kid? Get something for nothing? Loki Odinson, what do you know? I'm destined to ascend to the throne of the God King. Now that he is my subordinate, it is a profitable investment. I didn't even let him pay anything, just verbally acknowledged it. Holy Lord, then I'll come too, Kit. I will definitely be able to recover my strength and reappear the glory of the ancient times. You invest 10 points in me now, and I will grant you a higher level bloodline when I recover. Dragonborn, Night Spirit, Griffin. If you want to keep your human form, I will teach you the most powerful black magic. Now you only need 10 points to invest in me, and you can get these in the future. Do you want to do it? Peter Parker, Tony Stark. It's just a big deal. Who can't do it? Tony Stark. I will definitely be able to create a cross-dimensional armor in the future, and then it will be able to trigger a cosmic storm and easily cross space. Whoever gives me 10 points now, I will share the production method of this armor with him in the future. Loki Odinson, Atashat and Asterisk Ashat. I want to severely accuse my two beastly roommates. Damn, they are reading pirated books in front of me, and they are my fucking books. Chapter 296 Iguan Technology. Shocking. Image continues. In the medical department, the doctor in charge of the examination pointed to 2 court scans and said, "There are dozens of suspects. I personally think it is more appropriate to call them victims. Look, this is a normal person's brain, and this is the victim's. The victim's prefrontal lobe has obvious atrophy, which is caused by some external factors." The doctor said, 1 or 2 may be lesions, but a group of people showing the same symptoms at the same time is a bit too coincidental. What will happen if the prefrontal lobe is atrophied? Narazaki moved its bald head closer and asked, while taking out a pen and a notebook, and began to record. The parietal lobe controls the rational part of human beings. If it degenerates, it means that people can't distinguish between good and evil. It is very likely that they will not only become extremely violent, but even lose their rationality. In other words, people will be unable to think, lose their ability to speak, lose their memories, have no motivation, have no interest in anything, and become an empty shell without any understanding of emotions. The doctor's words made everyone feel a chill, and Ruxi suddenly remembered something and asked hurriedly, "Excuse me, will smoking affect the parietal lobe?" Smoking? That shouldn't have a serious impact on the parietal lobe. We know, thank you. The 3 of them bowed and said goodbye, and at this time the doctor called. Narazaki had just walked out and suddenly remembered his cigarette. Because smoking was prohibited in the doctor's office, he had put it on the table. Narazaki went back to get a cigarette, while the doctor sat in front of the table in a daze. The sun outside had set, and the sunset shone through the window onto the doctor's face. The warm sunset made the doctor's face red. The doctor put the phone next to his ear expressionlessly, motionless, expressionless, and with the red light, it looked particularly weird. Narazaki took the cigarette and suddenly found that something was wrong with the doctor's face. Narazaki wanted to ask about it, but the next second, the doctor pounced on Narazaki and wrestled with Narazaki madly. Kato and Mizuki rushed in to help, but Narazaki refused to help, and then threw the doctor over his shoulder and knocked him unconscious. And the phone in the doctor's hand was broken. "It's because of the cell phone," Bruce Wayne said in a positive tone. "Now I can be sure that this time the Metron people have tampered with the cell phone." Tony Stark, yes, compared to tampering with cigarettes, playing tricks on the cell phone is more ruthless and has a greater impact on humans. Tony Stark, people who use cell phones do not necessarily smoke, but smokers generally have a cell phone. Tony Stark, with the development of time, it is difficult for human society to leave the cell phone. Tony Stark, I won't say much about communication such as phone text messages. As time goes by, the scale of mobile phone intelligence will become larger and larger, and humans will become more and more inseparable from mobile phones. Tony Stark, after all, antiques like Captain are already rare, and modern young people are users and potential users of smartphones. As time goes by, smartphones will surely enter thousands of households, and even in the end, mobile phones will become external organs of humans. Logan, what the hell? Just that little box? Magneto, do I understand? Magneto, but I was shocked. Tony Stark, sorry, it's over. You two are antiques from the 1960s. It's normal that you don't understand things in the 21st century. Logan, you kid. I don't think a small broken box can be attractive. Tony was too lazy to argue with him. It was difficult to communicate with antiques. He had experience in this matter. Although he didn't know how the captain learned to use the mobile phone, every time he sent a message to the captain would reply to him in a very standard reply format. No matter what was posted in the group, the captain could always make the atmosphere like a meeting. So they created a new group without the captain's knowledge. Thor used the mobile phone better than the captain, except sometimes he was too excited and accidentally crushed the phone. The video continues. Beachland police station. A pile of mobile phones were neatly arranged by several people. These mobile phones have one common feature, that is, they all use the same type of antenna. Although the models are different, the antennas are the same. Narazaki asked with some disbelief, is it such a small thing that paralyzed humans? How did they do it? It should be that the invaders used alien metals to make these antennas, which may be mixed with substances harmful to humans. Sure enough, it's still the familiar formula and familiar taste. It's just a change of soup, but not the medicine. However, looking at the models of these mobile phones, it should be the beginning of the 21st century. Now this type of mobile phone has been almost eliminated. I still care more about another thing, that is, whether Narazaki has any relationship with the Metron star. The video continues. The number you dialed cannot be connected at the moment. Please call again later. On this day, people in Beachland district heard this sentence when they were calling. In order to protect people, the area of Beachland district was designated as a no-call zone to prevent the spread of telephone attacks. Of course, the starting point is good, but the young people can be tortured. They cried and shouted, and they almost went to the door of Dash to cry, make trouble, and hang themselves. But Narazaki doesn't care about these. Anyway, this is a notification issued by two Dash members in the name of Dash. The gate of DSAH is blocked, not the gate of his Narazaki family. The three followed the clues of the antenna and came to a residential area. Kato wanted to rush up with a gun. On the high-rise building, a man in black with a black hat, black sunglasses, and even black dresses saw all this. During the search, Ruxy took out a thing that I don't know how to evaluate better. Alien detector. This thing can directly scan the surrounding alien matter. You say it is powerful, it can't even find the maximum spark on Kato, but Kato is right next to Ruxy. You say it is useless, this thing is really useful. So in summary, we can infer this conclusion. Aguang technology is shocking. Live room barrage Aguang. Aguang, wait, Maximum's transformation device was not made by me. After thinking about it, it seems that the anti-theft chapter cannot be opened, which is very annoying. Chapter 297. Silly Kato is attacked online. We are Dash. Kato, the signal is right here. Mizuki police. Don't move. Narazaki. Several staff members in their uniforms were confused. The response from the alien scanner has disappeared. But the signal is indeed coming from here. After communicating, they learned that this antenna was indeed produced by this company. So is it really okay to use the rooftop where clothes are hung as an office? Narazaki glared at Kato and Mizuki, apologized quickly, and then continued to ask about the antenna. Compared with the old version, the antenna of this new product has a higher accuracy in receiving signals. We are testing the amount of radio waves received at a high altitude, but we found a very strange radio wave. I see. Narazaki looked as if he already understood. The problem is not the antenna, but the radio wave. Someone targeted this antenna and sent a high power radio wave. The power is enough to turn people into monkeys. The case is solved. The three returned to the parking lot, and the black-clad weirdo was watching them from a house not far away. The three met two citizens holding mobile phones near the parking lot. When they saw Dash, they picked up their phones and tapped them, as if they were watching some rare animal. And at this time, the sharp monkey cry sounded again, as if it was a metaphor for something. If the mastermind behind the scenes releases this level of radio waves to the whole world. Kato was interrupted by Naraki before he finished his worried words. Naraki said coldly, these people would be happier if they turned into monkeys. How can you say that? Naraki's attitude made Kato very unhappy. At the moment he opened the car door, Kato suddenly noticed a black-clad weirdo wearing black clothes and a black hat passing by here. Ultra Intuition Point JPG. After tracking for an unknown period of time, Kato lost him again. At this time, a mobile phone ringing on the ground caught Kato's attention. Kato looked at the phone on the ground. It was obvious that the whole world knew that this must be a trap. Except Kato. Normal people would definitely not answer it, but Kato, the ultimate fool, chose to answer the phone after struggling for a moment. Sure enough, the next second, a super strong radio wave came, and Kato immediately fell to the ground in pain. Where is Maximum? Where is Maximum? Maximum, save him. The man in black came in front of Kato at this moment. His lips did not move, but an old voice appeared in Kato's mind, as expected of a human chosen by Ultraman Maximum. Your brain structure seems to be very tenacious, Tauma Kato, or Ultraman Maximum. The man in black stated Kato's identity word by word, and Kato instinctively asked back, who are you? Don't worry about those insignificant details. I can talk directly to your brain, which means I'm not from this planet. Here we go again. Do you want Ultraman not to interfere in their affairs again? Peter's expression was a little strange. He said, the last time Ultraman 7 was killed by the same method, he was finally split in half by 7's head dart. If I remember correctly, Maximum seemed to have a head dart as well. What is this? A tribute? And this Metron star is too straightforward. Why does he agree with the plot every time? Maybe, the Maximum in this world is the isotope of Ultraman 7. The image continues. Kato fell to the ground in pain. He angrily asked the man in black what his purpose was. This time, the man in black did not act like he did decades ago when facing another Ultraman who would answer all questions. When Ultraman asked, he began to defend his graduation thesis. Instead, he chose to be a riddle man and said something that made people confused. There is no purpose anymore. I will not keep an eye on the earth in this city anymore. Live room barrage Thanos. It seems that these guys have made some progress. At least they have changed their habit of answering whatever others ask. Tony Stark, I suddenly found that the styles of your group of villains are very similar. They all like to say a lot of villain declarations before fighting. Bambi is like this, and your subordinate Ebony Maw is also like this. If Black Dwarf could speak human language, he should have made a set of villain speeches at that time. Thanos, it seems that you still think I'm a villain, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I don't have this habit of answering all questions. Wanda, that's not necessarily true. If we hadn't chosen to fight you directly, you would have had to give an impromptu speech. The video continues. The man in black looked at Kato lying on the ground and said lightly, but after all, this opportunity is rare. I want to say hello to you before going back. When Mizuki and Naruki arrived, only Kato was lying on the ground, and the man in black had gone far away. Narazaki chased after him. In a corridor, Naruki caught up with the man in black and called out his true identity. Metron. The man in black was stunned. He took off his sunglasses, stared at Naruki carefully, and suddenly said, Kenjiro? Metron. Zyuojian. Metron. The two showed the ecstasy of meeting old friends on their faces, and they hugged each other excitedly, but the next second, the ecstasy on Metron's face disappeared instantly. He took a last look at Naruki, and then pushed Naruki out fiercely, and in the next second, Mizuki and Kato rushed over. Mr. Naruki, are you okay? Where is that person? He ran over there. Kato chased after him again, and Naruki came to the window with the help of Mizuki. Looking at the scenery outside the window, Narazaki suddenly sighed. Kitakura district has changed. I grew up here when I was a child. It's been 40 years. Narazaki suddenly showed a childlike smile on his face and said to Ruxi, I tell you, there were aliens living in our city at that time. Huh. At this moment, the picture switched, and an alien with a fish head and a human body, a split philtrum, a red face, and a running away appeared on the screen. The next second, this guy was cut in half by a head, dart from the crotch, and followed a memory of Narazaki. I won't turn on anti-theft. My friends in the group and the elders on the forum don't give me any advice on what to do. I just take it as a way to accumulate good karma. After all, there must be potential seeds for genuine copies in the future among the current readers of pirated copies. I didn't have money to read the genuine copies then, and I'm only slowly making up for it now. Why do some people with cerebral palsy think that piracy is a good thing and say that I should be happy? I'm speechless. It's the 300th chapter. Sprinkle flowers. That's probably the situation a paralyzed colonel from Langayan base who doesn't want to reveal his name. The words written in brackets in the text are within 200 words. Your subscription is still 10 points for 2000 words, and you get 80 extra genuine words for free. I want to see if there are any people with cerebral palsy who read pirated copies and come to trouble me. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298, Tracking Master Kato Talma. The video continues. It was a dilapidated house. On the old wooden boards, there were fish-headed human bodies, with cracked philtrum, red faces, unable to run, and half-dead creatures. And on the side, there was an old man with glasses. The old man used a thick hemp rope to sew together the matron who had been split into 2x7, and then applied painkillers. Although I don't quite understand why the painkillers used by Earthlings can relieve the pain of the matron, and I don't quite understand why such a thick hemp rope was used to sew the wound, but the matron still survived. And watching all this happen on the side is a current Mirazaki, the Kinjiro and Zyujian in the mouth of the matron. I made an agreement with matron that I must never tell this to anyone. Narazuki's expressionless face once again showed a childlike smile, and he smiled and said, I told it, and I haven't told anyone else in the past 40 years. Today may be the day when Narazuki laughed the most and happiest this year. Narazuki chuckled a few times, and then his face suddenly became serious. However, I don't think he is a bad person. He is just furious about the changes in this city. This Narazuki, his butt is a little crooked. Constantine said, the Metrons are aliens after all. Why are they angry about the changes in a city on Earth? This is not his Metron planet. Maybe Narazuki is explaining his own thoughts, or Narazuki regards Metron as a creature on Earth. Strange took over Constantine's words and continued, Narazuki met Metron 40 years ago, and if Metron was seriously injured by Ultraman 7, then his spaceship had been blown up by 7, and he could not leave the Earth at all, so he lived peacefully on Earth for 40 years. There was no attack on the Earth for 40 years, maybe because of Ultraman's deterrence, or maybe because they didn't want to start a war. But this is smuggling after all. Alfred, everyone. Can I say a few words? Bruce Wayne, Alfu, Captain America. This old man didn't say much. Peter Parker, sir please. Alfred, I think what Mr. Narazuki said may not only refer to Metron, but also to himself. Alfred, he just used Metron to refer to himself. Alfred, Mr. Narazuki is a meticulous old-fashioned person. He feels obviously uncomfortable with the current society, and the most obvious thing is his attitude towards mobile phones. Alfred, the development speed of modern society is very amazing. Since human society entered the industrial age, the changes in 100 years are greater than those in the past 1000 years. Now, the changes in 10 years are greater than those in the past 100 years. An ancient person who lived 2000 years ago can still survive if he travels back to 1000 years ago, because the general structure of society has not changed. However, an ancient person who lived 100 years ago can never easily accept this society if he travels back to the modern world. Alfred, mobile phones, computers, cars all over the streets, and nights full of lights and wine. All of this is incredible and unimaginable to the ancients 100 years ago. Captain America, yes, when I first woke up, I couldn't accept the changes of this century. The streets are full of new cars, tall buildings, and electronic screens on the upper floors. These were unimaginable in my era. Captain America, and I couldn't adapt to this new world for a long time. I only learned how to use my mobile phone now. Avengers building. The others looked at the captain at this moment, the spiritual leader who was always at the forefront of the team and inspired people. At this moment, he seemed a little lonely. His era was over after all. So, he wanted to find Bucky so much, not only to find his best friend, but also to find his own era, to find the person who could really communicate with him. Live room barrage Alfred, that's right, every older person will have this feeling. Mr. Narazaki obviously couldn't accept it, so he was so surprised when he saw Metron, an old friend from decades ago, because he subconsciously regarded Metron as a person like himself, and he couldn't accept, or had no ability to accept, the changes in this world. Wonder, but this world must keep changing. Alfred, yes, that's right. This is just an old man's self-mockery. Don't take it to heart. Metropolis. Diana recalled the development of human society. For her, she entered human society in the last century, but returned to Paradise Island in the middle, and only now entered the world again. The human world is indeed very large in recent years, but she still integrated very smoothly. At least, when she entered human society, there were no strange things like mobile phones. Image continues. The base sent a message to Roxy at this time. In the Beachuan district a few decades ago, there were frequent incidents of humans going crazy and attacking others. Red crystals that can make people lose their rationality were found inside cigarettes. People who smoke this kind of cigarettes will attack others. This is the plan of the invaders, to make people lose trust in each other and destroy mankind. Ruzi, what's the situation over there? Where's Kato? Kato is tracking a suspicious mysterious person. At this moment, the tracking master Kato is tracking the Metron star. The tracking mode is to hold a gun and follow Metron at a distance of about 5 to 10 meters. This tracking method makes Maximum unable to bear to watch. Metron turned around and waved to Kato directly, indicating that Kato can just follow him and walk side by side. There is no need to make it so tiring. In response to this, the tracking master Tauma Kato said that there should be a sense of ritual in doing things. If you say you must follow, you must follow. So no matter how Metron waved, he insisted on keeping his posture and kept a distance of 5 meters from Metron. Rather than saying it's tracking, it's better to say it's following. Bruce Wayne looked helpless. How can you follow someone like this? You can just go over and walk side by side with him hand in hand to make yourself look more normal. Is this really a professional with professional training? I remember saying before that Dash is mainly responsible for dealing with aliens, monsters, and natural disasters. Maybe they really have no experience in tracking. Strange said, and when Seven was tracking the Metrons, the tracking modes of both sides were similar. Is this also a kind of tribute? This is not a movie. What kind of tribute are you talking about? Oh, I'm going crazy. The editor said that he would give me a chief editor's recommendation on the 9th and 10th. I'm happy, but he asked me to maintain a daily workload of 10,000 words for 2 days, and then I will take the exam on the 11th and 12th, which means I have to prepare nearly 30,000 words of manuscripts in these few days. It's too difficult for me. The timeline of the DC Justice League world seems to be a little broken, but it's not a big problem. Let me make it right. P.S. Don't worry, it's still the same old rules. You didn't spend more money. Chapter 299. There is a fool. I know who it is, but I won't tell you. The video continues. Metron trotted into a wooden house, while Tauma, the master of tracking, Kato followed closely behind. Seeing Metron turn around, Kato immediately raised the Dash Lexa gun in his hand. Don't hold such a dangerous thing. Metron said helplessly and amusedly, this way. Kato, who didn't know the situation, followed carefully. In Metron's hut, there were holsters of several monsters such as Machilus, a mini ice axe on the table, and a mini doll on a cabinet. What the hell is this place? Kato pointed a gun at Metron and questioned. As you can see, Metron sat at a small round table without panic, and calmly faced Kato, as if he was facing an old friend. This is a monster warehouse. They have been keeping me here for a long time. They let me hide here. Okay, stop standing. Sit down. Do you want to drink something? Then, Kato really sat in front of Metron. Here, I rabbit dragon tea. As if he saw through Kato's heart, Metron said, it's not poisoned. Drink it in one breath. After saying that, he took a sip himself. I suddenly feel like drinking a drink when I write this. Seeing this, Kato also drank a sip carefully. Pa, There was a sound of people covering their faces in the theater. Here's an emoticon. Since you've already drunk it, then don't be so cautious, okay? Bruce Wayne looked annoyed and helpless. Drinking something you don't know where it came from in the enemy's territory, and the enemy has a history of poisoning before. This is too bold. It should be, because Maximum is possessed, so Kato thinks he has Maximum as a backup, so it doesn't matter. Hikari was a little amused when she heard this. Who can she complain to? After Kato took a sip, he suddenly found that this thing seemed to be quite delicious, and then he lowered his head and took a sip. The moment he raised his head, the Metron star opposite him immediately showed his original form. Puff. Kato sprayed out a mouthful of drink, and it seemed that he was a little choked. He put down the drink in his hand, tried to put on a serious expression, and wiped his mouth, and then said righteously, "Your conspiracy has been exposed. Leave the Earth obediently." Ignoring some details, at this moment, it seems to have returned to decades ago, still a Metron, still a member of the Earth Defense Force, an Ultraman from the M78 Nebula. It's just that this time the alien has a long scar on his body, which is the mark of suture. This time, the team member who came to confront is no longer Ultraman himself, but a silly Earthling, and the Ultraman who merged with him. Your mouth corner is still a little unclean. The Metron pointed at the corner of Kato's mouth, and Kato subconsciously wiped it again with his hand. Metron, who was sitting opposite him, told Kato, "I don't have any conspiracy. To be honest, I have to say goodbye to Earth. A spaceship is coming to pick me up. You're homesick, aren't you?" Bang. In order to show that he was really talking to Metron seriously, Kato slapped the table hard and then tried to tell Metron in a relatively serious tone, "Anyway, no matter what, leave Earth quickly." Ha ha ha. Metron clapped his hands and suggested to Kato, "Let's play rock paper scissors. If I lose, I will retreat obediently." Kato thought it was good to solve this matter in a peaceful way. If it is not a last resort, it is better to put violence aside. Besides, playing rock paper scissors with Metron, isn't it a sure win? Rock paper scissors? Rock paper scissors? Peter looked at Metron's hands, which were 3/4 similar to green onions, and raised his own question. "Peter Parker, is Metron trying to delay time in this way? These hands don't look like the hands that can win." Loki Odinson, "Boy, you have improved, but not enough." Loki Odinson, "If Metron is determined to invade the Earth, then what does a verbal agreement mean? This is not the Styx Oath. Winning or losing doesn't matter, so it can also be seen as a delay." Loki Odinson, "If Metron is determined to leave, then there is no problem with his approach, so he changed back to his original form." Loki Odinson, "And this approach can also make that human kid relax his vigilance. If Metron's hand can't win the rock paper scissors game, will he not change back to a human? If I guess correctly, this guy must use this trick to trick that human kid." Peter Parker, "Then why did Metron do this?" Jonathan Osterman, "Drive Manhattan. In human terms, this is looking for fun." Peter Parker, Jonathan Osterman, "Dr. Manhattan, this is the most likely conclusion I came to after reading the thoughts of all the life on Earth and the life forms with high intelligence in the universe. Wanda, this is what a strong person does, saying the most terrifying words in the most casual tone." Jonathan Osterman, "Dr. Manhattan, this is nothing to be afraid of. After I was promoted to a high-dimensional life form, the three-dimensional world is a book that I can read at any time. Everything here is the same, including the thinking of intelligent life. Wanda, this is obviously more terrifying. Okay." The video continues. The Metron star is obviously teasing Kato at this moment, and Kato can't help but say, "What a fool." Well, it's true. There is a fool among the three people. I know who it is, but I won't say it. Rock, paper, scissors. Ah. Damn, you know my weakness. The Metron star deliberately complained, then changed back to human form, and began to pack up. "What are you doing?" "I'm collecting Earth's specialties." Metron took out a black plunger and placed it on the table. "This is a top quality product. Stop messing around." Kato pulled the plunger out with great effort and said, "Go back home obediently." Hahaha. When I look at Maximum now, Kato is really a lot like Hiruki, the idiot. They're both idiots. Chapter 300, when the streets are no longer being sniped. Metron held a small Metron doll in his hand, and he smiled and told Kato, I have been lurking here for 40 years, guarding this place. We are sure that, even if we don't launch an attack, the earth will fall into our hands. So, I'm going back. Here it comes. The big one is coming. Hearing what Metron said, everyone finally got serious. They have realized one thing, that is, a screening, on the surface, is a simple superhero story, but in fact, it is a different world. Behind each story in it, there are more meanings. 40 years ago, Metron wanted to invade the Earth by destroying the trust between humans. When it added the last narration, the whole story instantly changed. And now, Metron, who once wanted to invade the Earth by destroying the trust of humans, said something like, even if we don't invade the Earth will fall into our hands. The deep meaning in it is indeed enough to make people think deeply. In the screening room, there were either human spirits or they became human spirits after hearing the whispers and watching the human spirits fighting. At this moment, they seemed to have a warning bell in their bodies. The spider sense that no longer existed in Peter's body seemed to jump from Gwen. They could all feel that the big thing was coming. The video continued. The Metron star told Kato, because of the convenient props, humans have gradually begun to degenerate. The whole city is full of monkeys. At this moment, pictures of grey-white monkeys and pictures of humans looking down at their phones appeared alternately, and Metron's voice became like a narration. They will automatically go to extinction. The new tools have caused the human brain to shrink. There is no need to fight at all. I just accelerated the speed of human degeneration. Damn it, you baba. Hey, don't be so excited. You are also a partner of the aliens. There is no need to gradually degenerate into humans who are still destroying the environment and are very powerless. Stop talking. Kato pointed his gun at the Metron star, looking like he was broken. Metron looked at Kato, who had broken through his defense, and quickly comforted him. Okay, I'm going back soon. Let's play rock paper scissors again. If I lose, I'll disappear immediately. How about that? Once the alien has spoken, it's hard to go back. Puff. Metron couldn't help laughing, and then said to Kato, you should teach the Earthlings to say these words to me first. Are you ready? Okay, first it's scissors. Then, rock paper scissors. Both sides played scissors, and the next second, an old pair of hands wrapped Kato's rock with its cloth. Ah. Kato's original anger turned into astonishment. What the hell is going on? Unfortunately, Metron, who had turned into a human form, waved his palm at Kato. This time, I played paper. Just as Kato was astonished, Metron suddenly transformed into a huge size. The next second, Maximum fell from the sky. At this moment, it was dusk. With his back to the sunset, Metron seemed to have returned to 40 years ago, when he had fought against the Red Giant. That time, it was also sunset. That time, the Red Giant stood on the earth just like the one in front of him. Metron looked at Maximum falling from the sky. His expression was dazed. Everything was so familiar to him. He seemed to have returned to 40 years ago, and the Red Giant stood in front of him again. Time has passed, and he is no longer the person who wanted to invade the Earth. The city has also changed with the passage of time. Even the former giant has been exiled to the edge of the universe. The sunset on the Earth is so beautiful. Facing Maximum, who was in a fighting posture, Metron did not attack. He walked slowly in the old city that was about to be demolished. Under the sunset, the high-rise buildings and dark sky of the new city were in sharp contrast with the low houses and the afterglow of the sun in the old city. I particularly like the sunset of the Earth. This shadow tribute is the best specialty. Metron stood in the old city under the sunset, while Maximum stood in the new city in the shadow. There was a river in the middle. This river was like a dividing line, dividing the city in time, half of which was the past and half was the future. Metron was like an old man, nagging about the glory of the past. Time will change a lot, but there are always some things that should be left behind for future generations to remember. When the old city is demolished, this beautiful sunset will be difficult for the monkeys in the city to see, so they can appreciate it. Stop talking so much. This time, the voice of Kato came out of Maximum's body. Are you going to leave or not? Metron did not answer, but began to mark his place. Maximum, ultra doubt point JPG, ultra tilted head point JPG. At this time, a spaceship that looked like a duck gizzard at first glance flew over. That was the special spaceship of the Metron people. Metron waved to Maximum, and he left, and embarked on the journey home. Maximum subconsciously waved point JPG. Metron turned into a white ball of light, and flew back to the spaceship. Under the setting sun, Maximum watched the Metron people leave. Wait, you forgot to bring your specialties. The next day, on a rooftop, Kato told Narazuki about these things. I see, that guy went back. Narazuki nodded and lit a cigarette for himself. Yeah, instead of staying on this planet, it's better to go back directly. It's just, Narazuki smoked and said as he walked, if possible, I really hope he will take me with him. Mr. Narazuki. Goodbye. Narazuki had a complicated expression, as if he was saying to Kato and Mizuki in a helpless tone, there are more complicated things waiting for me to do than aliens. Metron is right. Kato looked up at the sky, as if looking at Metron going away. It has seen through this planet, so it returned to its own planet. But, squeak. Monkey screams, the fastest and strongest Maximum. The street no longer being sniped. Entiger. I must have released the Lightning Man. I'm an idiot. I typed the wrong title number. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.